Oh, a little piece of cake to start the day off. It's the Bennington Show. I'm Ron Bennington. There's Gail Bennington.
Yo.
And I'm Ron Bennington. Any reason for cake?
I think we're going to do a little late 90s alt-rock week as kind of an homage to The Crow.
The Crow. KRO, The Crow.
I was thinking about it because I was talking to an old friend of mine today, someone who does not live a public life. And so It made me think of that era.
Well, this is the last music he heard in his life, because we were playing some music at that station.
But
and then we went straight talk.
But it's funny. I feel like I was listening because you guys were doing that show.
Yeah.
I feel like I was listening to more new music than I ever listened to again in my life too, because it's like that was probably the last time that I was listening to like music terrestrial radio nonstop.
Well, the Crow was a little alt station that Fez and I, after the Ron and Ron show, broke up. And this is actually a good idea. I don't know how we even did it, but we're like, let's just pick a small market, have some fun, and figure out where we're going to go for a big market, right? So the Crow was our off-Broadway place to find our own personal rhythm. It's too smart of an idea for us to have had that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it was really like a breather, and it was like spring training. But I'm so fucking mad about this. We had put together a tape of stuff that we did there that we'd sent out, and that's why Jeremy Coleman brought us to New York. I never found that tape again. It was one of my favorite things that we ever made up.
Yeah.
Because what we did, we had faked this thing like it was 1 hour. And it was the best of. Instead of sending out, like, here's some of the best stuff we've ever done to radio stations, we just said, Jeremy's like, can you get me just an hour of you guys? I want to hear you when you're not being Ron and Ron. And we went in, like, before the show started, which was like 5 o'clock in the morning or something. And we just acted like we were live, and we were putting in these fucking phone calls and these bits, right? And I'll send you something. Just an hour. I don't know what it is. And it was fucking unbelievable. It was just like the best. Like, I've never had an hour like that in my life. It was like, did you ever see that movie Talk Radio that Oliver Stone did?
Yeah.
Where when people are like, is radio like that? And I go, yes, if you took every crazy person I ever had and put it into an hour and a half, yes, that is.
Right. If you took like 20, 30 years of radio experience, this is one show.
Somebody is on top of a bridge ready to jump off. Another person's calling you a piece of shit. Next person's telling you that they're having an affair and they feel, whatever. But that's what that hour was. And it was fucking so good. And instead of cutting it in a production studio, we just put all these elements in live.
Right.
And I'd be like, let's go to the phones, and Fez would be hitting this thing. And it was fucking great. And it would literally, this was like 99 or something, so we sent him a cassette tape. Like, it wasn't any, and I don't know, we fucking looked around for that, because it would just be a fun,
I would love to hear
fun
that.
hour to throw on YouTube. But like, I'm just totally like, let's talk about phobias. Has anybody out there got a phobia? Boom, we go into this amazing fucking call.
Right.
Anyone cheating on their wife? Give us a call.
You're like, not only is this show great, but so are the callers.
The callers are
Beach.
Amazing, amazing. And then Jeremy Coleman buys it hook, line, and sinker, motherfucker, brought us straight to New York. But I could, just so furious. Neither one of us knows. And we must have made up like 40 fucking tapes, because we sent them out to some other places.
Yeah.
But as soon as we heard from Jeremy, we're like, yeah, we'll work at JFK and NEW. That's good laddie got there, Jeremy. I guess you like that hour a lot, don't you, brother man? All right, there's so much to get to today. I think, was it you that sent in the optical illusion?
No, I believe that was a Vito find.
Vito has this thing that is nothing but squares, and he claims there's circles on it. I hate to be the I can't see the fucking sailboat guy. But, Vito, do me a favor. Run in here so you can get it up on this thing so I can just have it in front of me. I don't want to... I've tried it already, so I don't want to act like I can do it in 2 minutes.
Right.
But I figure if I have it up during the day, I'll be able to see it. But I hate an optical illusion.
They're the worst.
All right. So this is a series of
16 circles in this. Now, if you look at it, there is not.
Bullshit. They're squares.
Relax your eyes.
Okay, so if
Chris, why are you in that room today?
I had to call an audible before, right before the show. I had some McDonald's breakfast, not sitting well.
Oh, God.
I don't want to give too many details.
By the way,
already have.
You are a 34-year-old man with 74-year-old man problems. You know what I mean? Like, there's not, well, I don't know why this makes you laugh, but there's no reason that you should have solid food in the morning and have your colon explode.
It's not pleasant. I gotta go to a gastroenterologist.
You gotta change everything.
Maybe in
Everything you're
September.
doing.
I'll change everything. Let's have a little more fun for the rest of the summer.
You know,
You need to do everything opposite, Costanza style.
Vito.
That's your way to success.
Vito pitched me and Chris this, hey, we should do a team health thing. And we could all support each other. And as I'm going, you know what? That sounds like a good idea. Chris is just yelling, no fucking way,
Yeah.
you gay minority.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why does that make him a gay minority? Slur.
Oh, my God.
It'd be a great idea for all of us because you're feeling better about yourself. You're talking a little louder. You're walking a little prouder.
Bringing in my prep meals, like doing my daily workout.
What's your prep meal?
Just grilled chicken. Remember, I used to do grilled chicken and lettuce. Now I just do grilled chicken and sometimes hot sauce.
You felt like
But the lettuce?
the lettuce was the problem.
No, just the lettuce. I don't like the way lettuce maintains during the day.
Yeah.
So I'd rather just eat the straight chicken.
That's a big problem that McDonald's had when they did their BLT, the burger LT sandwich, and they came from like, hey, let's separate it in the styrofoam.
Yeah.
Still had the heat, McDonald's.
Yeah.
So, sorry.
No, thanks. Hot lettuce never works out. But I still would like to see you with a green. But Chris was the only holdout.
Not only was it a holdout, he was a screaming holdout.
Yeah. Because we were all like, I think this is a great idea. We all felt very strongly that we could together support better health for this show. And Christina was like, fuck no, dude.
So, Chris, are you willing to say post-Labor Day?
Post-Labor Day. Because I just don't want these problems, Ron.
You know why everyone doesn't believe you?
Why?
2 reasons.
Okay.
Jimmy Buffett.
Yeah.
That fucking day was March that you swore to it.
That was March.
And it continued on. Like, it continued. We got promises every month, I feel.
I've deleted my fucking email account because I'm tired of reading about it.
He hates lies, Chris.
I didn't lie. I wasn't lying at the time.
You lie. Your word is no good. Now, the entire world is coming apart, so I can't focus on that. By the way, if you see the circles, go to the iBang. I'm sure we've tweeted it out. Are we saying this is a circle, that square?
No.
Because if that is, I see it. If circle in the square is the new way.
Those are just shitty rectangles with shades inside them.
I don't think that they're shitty. They're just rectangles,
I don't like
Chris.
them.
It's one of those ones where once you see it, you won't be able to unsee it.
Stop it. That's the fucking sailboat. And this is why people hate the sailboat. Okay? This is why malls are dying. Because they've annoyed everyone so much. And they say the same thing. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. That reminds me of someone saying in a movie, the effects are... That's why I'm going to go, fuck you. I'm not seeing your movie. Because I don't give a shit about effects.
What sick asshole even comes up with optical illusions? Like, they're just a shitty thing to fucking make.
You know, the fact that you have diarrhea is why you probably say shitty constantly.
Yeah, and sick asshole as well.
It would be better that if you're too shitty to do the show, you turn off your mic and you just sit there in shame. Like any Dookie boy would. Any brown bomber does not belong in here with the rest of us.
I'm not a Dookie boy.
All right, so that's up. Anybody go look at it. Enjoy it. Once you see it, you won't be able to unsee it. Okay? It's basic.
Just relax your eyes.
That's exactly.
My eyes are so tense just thinking about there's secret circles in there.
If I could relax my eyes, I'd sleep at night. I hate those things. It's up on the iBang. We'll tweet it out, 844-ROCK-GOD, if you see the dumb circles. So far, Vito, you're the only one who can see the circles?
Now, did you see the circles right away? Or was it...
I stared at this for an hour.
Okay. I don't have time to stare. I can't even stare at a movie for an hour. How am I going to stare? You know what they should do? Hand these out at the airport as you're getting on a plane. We could all just sit when there's nothing to do. By the way, I think my favorite Seinfeld moment ever is when Putty didn't win a magazine or something to watch. I'm fine, just sitting here. Then he could just sit.
He didn't even sleep.
Yeah, nothing. Just sit. No, I'm good.
I hate to bring this up already, but I was thinking of that this weekend because I turned on the feeds, the Big Brother feeds, and saw Cody was doing exactly that. There was a moment, it was like not long after Jess had left, and so I guess he was feeling a little bit distant from everyone in the house. Everyone's congregated in one room, they're all talking and having fun, and then he just went in another room, sat straight backed on the bed, like not lounging, not laying, just sitting with his back against the wall, just staring, not doing anything. I'm like, that's really weird.
And it was the have-not room, too. Not like a nice room, it was the have-not room, sitting on the spikes, staring at a blank wall.
For a very long time. I was like, he's Putty. He's like a military Putty.
That bit was so good that Larry David reused it with Jeff Garland on the plane. And Jeff Garland, no, I'm good. And I was like, you don't want a magazine or anything? You just want to sit there? He's like, you're not Cody in a have-not room. That's how fast. You know what? This is why you wanted to bring up a thing, and then we have to hear have-not room.
I know.
When the masses do not enjoy the Big Brother talk. But I will tell you this time, and this is the first time this ever happened, I listened to the Big Brothers podcast with interest. I'm like, Vito was coming up with some good points.
Yeah, there were, this was a strong one.
I don't know why. I don't know how you got good overnight, but it was the first time I thought like this. This is a show that I might listen to, even if I didn't know those guys.
Something clicked for me as well. I don't know. You're coming up with ideas.
Thanks. Yeah, I think we're really getting into our groove now.
Oh, don't say we.
What? I think I'm really coming into my groove now.
Yeah.
Vito got her groove back.
Did you ever have it to get it back, man? Now, it's bothering me. There's so many big stories to get to before. Look, I spent yesterday going, how am I going to get around Fifth Avenue to get into work in the morning? And then I get up, and Trump had already went to D.C. He was supposed to be in New York. They talked about it for days. You never know what he's going to do. He's reckless.
Yeah. He's
reckless as a schedule. So we'll get to that in a little bit. But a big story up on the iBang, and this is has got a lot of people in the comedy industry talking, is the owner of the comedy cellar gave his opinion of the big argument took place between Anthony Cumia and a Mr. John Stewart, a Johnny to the left and a Johnny to the right. Noam gave his thing, basically said nothing happened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nothing. There's nothing to see here. But it's a really interesting argument, and for people around the country to see that this, literally a cellar, is the pinpoint for everything that is giant comedy today. It's a fascinating thing, and it's fascinating to see Noam's responsibilities and headaches of success to take place. That, you know, he wants to make sure these guys have a good time.
Yeah.
Enjoy themselves as they work for free, people that get paid $150,000, $200,000 a night, and there's 10 of them showing up.
Well, that puts that extra pressure on, because when somebody is paid for their service, that's a contract that happens. But when you are putting a position where this is a great thing, but this could change at any moment, you become a person who has to be work in the room all the time, making sure everyone's happy. Yeah, it's a hard position to be in.
It's that Studio 54 thing where you're this is going so great. Now, does it last forever, or what happens? How do you become how do you get that thing to work? And the problem was, as big as you could have movies out, you could be a giant stand-up performer, you could have had 2 sitcoms on TV, and then someone goes, Chappelle's here, he wants to go up now,
Yeah.
And you got to make sure that person doesn't go, good, put Chappelle up, I'll never come back here again. You know what I mean?
No, I need both of you.
But right now they're all, and because of the Cellar, I don't know whether you knew this about Chappelle and Chris Rock, that all these other giant stars dropped in because they all bump into each other at the Cellar. So at Radio City, at that Chris Rock Chappelle thing, Kevin Hart showed up, Amy Schumer showed up, because they're Cellar buddies. All of this being put into jeopardy because of one. Well, nothing happened. Let's just change that. Let's change it. Nothing happened at all.
Nothing to see here.
Now, Anthony, he had a busy weekend tweeting about Charlottesville, but he and I are making an announcement on August 21st.
Oh my God! Really?
Yes.
So I know what that was. I have to wait until August?
Why wouldn't you wait? That's when the announcement's going to be.
Okay.
August 21st. Everyone, wait for our announcement. Now, the Comedy Cellar does its thing. We haven't seen those kind of lights on Broadway. You know what I mean? That's the old school Broadway lights. It's so great.
Yeah, I love those. They really don't exist at all anymore. But when we first moved to New York, it's funny because some of those still existed, and there were still a lot of Times Square was mostly blinky lights.
Yeah,
not so much a Tokyo Screen Central the way it is now.
Yeah, and that's. I don't know whether you ever even saw the history of Times Square, but it changes so much all the time.
Yeah.
Even people in the 40s were going, it used to be great here.
Yeah, totally.
It was fantastic. But it just has been in a constant change. And I remember when I first moved to New York, I go, when they finish this buildings, you know what I mean? They're working on some things now. But as soon as they're done, this city is going to be pristine. And then they work on something else. It's just constantly under construction.
Yeah. And you can't really, and nothing is too precious to the city either.
No, nothing is precious. They would easily get rid of the Brooklyn Bridge tomorrow. They're going like this. We got more money to put a different bridge in there. And it's gone. Statue of Liberty, we don't need it.
Yeah.
Do you know there was a cover with J-Law on the cover, I think, of Vanity Fair, and she had the Statue of Liberty behind her, and there was this thing of that was an attack on Trump. So people were furious with J-Law and whatever magazine this was. How dare you put the Statue of Liberty? We know what you're trying to say.
Oh, so they were saying that it was not a patriotic move, but saying something about immigrants coming to this country.
Yeah, which some people could see as patriotism, by the way. The fact that you've given up patriotism on your side goes to show you how well these things work. It was Vogue. Vogue. Is that right?
It looks like, yeah. Vogue.
Okay. So, anyway, this is what a crazy world that we live in. Now, I don't know if you guys watch the Charlottesville stuff, because Saturday got so crazy. This almost seems nuts to talk about, but I think that those white supremacists, neo-Nazis, and alt-righters should have left Friday night, because I thought from a marketing point of view, Friday night fucking blew me away. Friday night caught me on my heels. And I'd come home from the stand, turned on the TV, and just see this it looked like thousands. I guess it was hundreds of tiki torches walking around. And I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I didn't think I'd ever see this in this country. You know what I mean? This is powerful. And then by Saturday, they just look like fat guys in a, a fucking scrum.
In the light of day.
It looks stupid.
Yeah.
And then to end it with the stupid driving into a crowd of people where everybody could easily say, oh, there's nothing fucking good about this.
Right.
But Friday night looked like 1938.
Yeah,
fucking Germany.
It was one of those things where, I think the light of day did not help them at all. And they looked better with their Party City tiki torches.
Those tiki torches look cool as shit. Like, people backlashed and said that they weren't cool. They looked fucking amazingly cool Friday night. And I'm like, what the fuck? All right, go to, I think HuffPo had the picture up. But out of all the pictures over the weekend, this is the one that sent chills to me. And I don't know why. You never know why a still picture works as well as it does. It'll be not that one. Keep going. No, you. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
there it is.
This guy here.
That guy right there looks like the perfect Nazi.
Well, yeah, because they found someone with really solid Nazi hair on top of, they put him at the center, but he does look like a kind of a Hitler Youth vibe about him.
He does, and the Hitler Youth vibe has a thing of being attractive to 15-year-old girls. Like, that guy would do okay for himself. And the other guys, these look like fucking scary white dudes. They don't look like those normal, so that picture there. And I understood that we went back and made fun of the tiki torches, but I'll say this. It works better than a regular torch and gives off the same vibe. But that, I don't know, let's just see if we get more pictures as you go through this.
I wish the guy in the background of the other one, I wish that he had gotten on brand, because you see he has a mustache. He has a lot to learn from the clean-cut Hitler Youth in the foreground.
Yeah, but the thing is, he works as look like being a normal kind of white guy that suddenly you're like, oh shit, I didn't know everybody in the town was a Nazi. You know what I mean? Like, it has a good horror. The daytime picture's terrible.
Yeah, they stink.
Awful. Never march in the daytime. You look like you're wearing dumb clothes. March at night. And when they put together their own riot gear, you know what I mean?
They look pretty dorky.
Look like they were taping a fucking telephone book to their belly.
It's cosplay.
And I would agree that, the crowds look more intimidating at night. Like, when you see a skinny, line of them in the daytime, you're like, look at these fucking people.
Right.
But that snaking line of tiki torches.
Brilliant marketing.
That was like, oh my God, they're coming. They're coming for us.
The Tiki Torch Company had to put out a statement saying that they don't condone the United
Was it Party
March.
City? I just
First
assumed
of all,
that it was Party City.
They should fucking put out, we're embarrassed that we make tiki torches for fucking bars. I mean, they're a dumb thing. And no one thinks you're Nazis. We know that you're tiki torches. Don't put out a statement.
I wish at least one person in that group was just in luau gear. He was like, oh, I thought this was a whole thing we were doing.
He's got a big fucking frozen drink.
Scorpion ball.
He like, we're gonna party like a snack. 99. It's like, dude, don't. See, every one of these pictures looks terrible.
Yeah.
But the nighttime stuff was amazing. And there was even a video where a dude was yelling, this is beautiful, man. Look at all this. He had his own video, so it showed up on Twitter. And it, the chill that you got, I had Friday night. And I'm like, it's fucking happening. We're in Handmaid's Tale.
It's true.
Is that the name of that?
Yeah, Handmaid's Tale.
But that is what that's about, right? Hey, all of a sudden the alt-right takes over.
Yes, and it's a very, it's hey, politics seem to lean a new way, and then that snowballs so quickly that eventually this very militant right takes power with what seems like months after just a government shift.
Right. And it's always been the great fear in this country and the stupid founding fathers set up their checks and balances so that we have nothing but gridlock and furious fucking screaming at each other all the time because you can't really move anything.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing that Trump has proven is even with owning Congress, Senate, and the president, it's still difficult to do the things that you want to do.
Yeah.
Steve Bannon must be just like, what the fuck, man? What the fuck?
Now, what do you think of this daytime picture? Because they've got, you know, diversity makes a stronger crowd on one side. They got the alt-right on the other side. And they're doing just kind of like a bye-bye birdie, we love you, Conrad standoff.
Yeah, I think that because it becomes very typical. You know what I mean? That thing that we saw take place is no different than the Berkeley stuff and all that. It gets a little, we've seen it before. I'm just strictly talking from a marketing standpoint. Those fucking guys Friday night looked incredibly cool. And then the next day, they look like fucking nerds, and a moron is driving into people, and it set them back. Everybody but Trump was appalled by what they saw. Trump, everyone is furious at him because he's afraid to say alt-right or neo-Nazi.
Or terrorism.
He goes on all sides. Yeah. This is bad.
Everybody's to blame here. So on many sides, you know, racism is a many-sided coin.
Right. It was the wrong day to say that. There are times that you could say, you know, stop children, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going around. You know, that is not a ridiculous thing to say. It was the worst possible timing for him to do it. And plus he kind of looks alt-right, whether he means to or not. There was a thing had come back that Trump's dad 90 years ago got busted at a Klan meeting.
Yeah.
Right? So I had never even heard that story before. But that's what this sets this up for. And this is why it's so difficult to be in America today. So Friday morning, the story was going to be North Korea. It gets fucking blown off the front pages by 150 fucking dudes in Virginia, and this annoys me so much, and I'm going to say it to CNN, MSNBC, and Fox. We know those are not local Charlottesville people. Stop saying they're outside agitators. That's a 1963 fucking Southern saying. We know this isn't a local thing. We all know that people travel. Like, we know that the Women's March, we're not people that happen to live in the district.
Right.
They travel. We get it. So, but this is an interesting thing. Imagine that Women's March at night with tiki torches.
Yeah.
Tiki torches has got to be the new way to set up your fucking protest. It's crazy not to. Don't set it up in the daytime. When you look ridiculous,
right.
And when they fucking circled those people, because I guess they weren't even supposed to march Friday night, so everybody was like, "Oh, we'll show up Saturday for this counter protest." But there were some people out, and they were fucking circled by the alt-right guys, and they were chanting, "You will not replace us." It was fucking like a movie. Some people yelled out, "Jew will not replace us." Probably not as effective, but it did make me laugh. Just out of nowhere. And the funny thing is, so Saturday, Trump gives that lukewarm thing that even made the Republicans mad.
Yeah. I mean, on every side, it seemed like there were people annoyed because I know that David Duke had tweeted afterwards being like, these are the people who got you elected and you turn your back. You know, like everyone felt like it was too lukewarm, no matter what side you're on.
Oh, no. The alt-right sides are saying the fact that he included everybody was good for us. I mean, they went out of their way to say, see, he's using code words, y'all. And that pissed off Republicans because they don't want to be called the white party. They know that that's, too short. So where I was getting, though, was as lukewarm as Trump was, his daughter Ivanka, who's Jewish, with Jewish children, she came out guns blazing.
Right.
There's no neo-Nazis. I mean, she made this statement that people wanted the president to make. Now, who are these dudes?
It says the anti-fascist counter-protesters.
They're the anti-fas or whatever they call them. They're the other fucking idiots who show up everywhere. And that's what he was doing with there are many sides. Here is Harrison in Wisconsin. Harrison, you're on the air.
Hey, buddy.
Hey.
At the tiki torches on Friday reminded me of the 13th Warrior, like this fire snake coming down the mountain, scaring the shit out of all the fucking Vikings.
I didn't see 13th Warrior. Anybody?
No, I've never seen that.
I remember, like, Benicio del Toro was in it.
But I'm with you on this. It really did. It really did. It was effective. It was really, really an effective thing to do. And I don't think there was as time. In my life, there's always been this thing. Hey, the Nazis are going to march in Skokie. And you would see 200 police, letting fucking 8 guys walk down the street. And they always looked ridiculous.
Right.
And people would jeer them. And you're like, why are you showing up to yell at these Nazis? They don't give a fuck. I had a friend that used to do my show in Tampa who was a grand wizard of the KKK. Grand wizard. He had 4 fucking guys with him.
Really?
Yeah. Any of those 4 guys could have been grand wizard. That's how much he had. He also always had methadone, which is a fun little fucking weekend drug. Now, it was never a big deal. That's why we had him on the show. He would wear his robes. It was literally considered fun. People would yell at him. The FBI followed him around, but back to his trailer where he spent the day drinking. And, he was a fairly harmless guy. Not even, I'm saying fairly because the thing that made him not completely harmless was he was a grand wizard of the KKK.
Right.
I mean, whenever
With
you
that
call
one
yourself.
thing.
But, he had the power of any of us. You know what I mean? Like, I could have been grand wizard if I said, let me do it. He would have said, sure. But you're the guy that has to bring the fucking beer to the meetings. So a lot of the stuff from my entire lifetime, and I, had a lifetime of seeing movies about Germany, reading books, blah, 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 because, the how can this happen? How did this ever happen thing has been explored. And it came from something that looked like Friday night.
Yeah.
Not Saturday morning.
Well, that's the thing that was like, it's familiar to us, even though it's not even something that all of us have lived through. It's like the stuff of like scary mythology.
Sure.
And you're like, oh, I recognize this.
The Jesse Owens thing.
Yeah. When
that movie just came out and he goes into that stadium and fucking Hitler's there and those people are all caught up, And, people always go, how could this happen? I've been at fucking rock concerts where everybody turned into whatever they turned into. You know what I mean? That they weren't going to be the following day. And by the way, this is also a reason it's rare for a rock concert to really work in the light of day. Right. You know what I mean? You need the power of night.
Right.
Or a solar eclipse. And maybe that would be a perfect time.
Oh, that would have been
good.
A show. That would have been really strong. But yeah, it's only in the night when you gather with a group and they're like, should we flip this bus? Yeah, why not? It's night. There's like a lot of us. It's nighttime. It's spooky. Let's do it.
Tiff, what's up, buddy?
Yeah, Chris, you fucking racist. It was Antonio Banderas, not Benicio del Toro. Were you down in Charlottesville this weekend? Piece of shit.
You know what? Pretty good prize closet. Chris, I want it to be something you own that you give.
Yes, something that means something to you.
What, his pocket knife?
I don't like the fact that Chris is never helpful. Big Brothers is out this on iTunes, and it was the best one yet. If you're a Big Brother fan, go to that. It's a way for us to keep Vito from bringing it up on the air all the time. The second Gail showed a moment of weakness.
I know.
And mentioned in that show.
And I even said, I know this is probably a bad idea, but Let me just bring this up quickly.
You should have just said, could everyone please click off the show? Because Vito's going to go into a rant no one understands. Barry Crimmins married over the weekend, and that story is up on the iBank.
I'm so excited for him.
Well, not only did he have Bobcat as his best man, but SNL's Tim Kazurinsky was the, I don't want to say preacher, but he officiated.
Yeah.
This. Now, Tim Kazurinsky, for me, will always be famous. David Mamet wrote a hard-hitting outsider-type play called Sexual Perversity in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And it was then, I don't want to say rewritten, but they put him up as their book. Tim Kazurinsky did the rewrite, and they put it out as About Last Night, a 1980s kind of romp with Rob Lowe and Demi Moore. And I always thought, I've never met Tim, but I just wanted to go, what is it like when you get the job of pissing and shitting all over David Mamet's work? Is that money's gone now, so you can't be about the money anymore. Are you happy that it's there? But there's the picture of Crimmins and his lovely bride.
That is so sweet. I'm so happy for him.
But it was both kind of a secret and star-studded wedding. That's probably the best kind of do.
I know. Most of wedding planning and all that stuff is pretty obnoxious. But then you hear something like this, you're like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's fantastic. But it's like, we had a small ceremony in Aruba. Brad and Angelina were there, and that was it. Just Brad and Angelina. We had no one else.
Who are your witnesses?
All right, Vito put up a picture and a slam on the Yankees of two Yankee fans banging on the subway. And then because of that, somebody sent me a website called Subway Creatures, which is just people take pictures of weird people they've seen on. But I kind of feel like that's creep shots.
Yeah, well, that's kind of almost like the same concept. Like, remember, it was very popular. It was like people of Walmart or something like that.
Yeah, that was it.
And I was like, oh, that seems kind of mean. It's just like
there's a meanness to that.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
That's great.
I look across from somebody nodded out, somebody else looking at their phone. There is a live and let live to New York like nowhere else.
Oh my god, that's in my city. What train is that?
It's the 5.
Oh god!
And the guy shooting it is 4 feet away from them.
Yeah,
Now,
you can
but
see.
let's be honest here. They're not on the way to the Yankee game. This is overnight stuff. You know?
This is from the Yankee game, yeah.
Yeah.
They're from the Yankee game, but what time and night?
There's definitely like a 3 or 4 a.m. situation.
So you can't act like they're coming home or that train is packed. I've been on that train.
Oh, God.
And you can see this person has the nods and a nice tropical drink. There's a nice tropical drink there. But she's just fucking him.
Hell yeah.
I mean, look, let's be totally honest. She's fucking him. He's not fucking
He's not
her.
doing a lot.
Yeah.
He's
doing a lot for a fat guy.
Right. Now, I like that she popped the shoes off for this.
Yeah. I don't have to put the shoes on. I gotta go there.
She's like, let me
No,
get
is this on a
comfortable.
loop, Vito?
Yeah, this is
Are they just going for it?
Change the position already.
1 minute loop.
Oh my god, that was so much more graphic than I thought it was going to be.
It's one of the more graphic Subway sex videos I've seen.
Wait, I see circles. Look, right here. And here.
Oh god.
He's a real fan, though. He's got that nice tattoo on his
He
calf.
does, yeah. They're both fans, but...
Well, I mean, it is the greatest organization in sports history. Let's be honest here. I mean, I root against them.
I really just like this video so much.
It's great.
I really don't like it because it's like, it looks like it could be like the F train or the 6 train. I'm like, it's too familiar. I'm uncomfortable with the whole
You've
thing.
been on the train before. That's what makes it uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like, you've probably sat on that seat.
Yeah,
that's one of the better things you could sit on in the subway.
True.
Like, you know that thing when you go to sit on the seat and then everyone like looks at you and you're like, did something just happen here? Did I just sit where somebody was doing something weird? I'm going to get up.
I just accept it.
There's just stickiness leading from the seat area.
You're like, ugh! Where you sit down and you're just like, it wasn't wet, but it is really warm.
Have you ever, or you're like, hey, this Trek pit, and I'm jumping on a car, no one's on, this is great. Oh my God, the smell. And you have to jump back out again.
It happened to me so recently, wasn't paying attention, stepped on, looked up, I'm like, every seat is open. And then a wave hit me and I like dove off of that car. I was like, get me out quickly before these fucking doors shut. And
Sometimes
I'm stuck on here.
Buffalo Bill in Virginia.
Hi guys.
What's up?
Just a little disappointed in my white brethren.
Let me just tell you, Bill. You have a great premise, and the execution sucks.
I was looking forward to that.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be great. Yeah, that's a little better, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, to have Buffalo Bill as a regular caller would have been fantastic. But you can't start with
Work on it.
Yeah, just work on it.
But I think
pull it together. Always have a big line at the beginning.
Yeah.
Would you fuck me?
Yeah, like I think you got to go with like an already existing quote, then start improving.
Just like, start with "Was she a great big fat person?" and then you move on.
Was she a great fat person?
Yeah, you don't even do a good impression. That's the other thing. Like everybody here can do a better Buffalo Bill than you. I love the idea. The idea was there. I would have loved to have Buffalo Bill.
I say work on it. You know, I still want it so bad.
What am I looking at here? What am I promoting, darling?
Street jokes.
We're promoting street jokes?
Yes.
I thought we'd already sold it out.
Well, this is the last day of promoting for a standby list.
Well, go ahead.
Street Jokes is happening Tuesday, August 22nd at 8 p.m. at the Stand Comedy Club in New York City. You go to the ibang.com to get on the wait list.
Standby list.
Standby list.
Stand by me.
It would be very easy for us to remake that film using Chris Stanley as the guy.
I'd love it.
There's a thing out right now. People are sending us that Ric Flair is in the hospital, and his people are saying, prayers for him. It's just the problem is you can't believe them. And I don't want to believe anything's wrong with Flair.
No,
I don't want to believe any wrestling thing at all. I don't want to fall for it.
Yeah, they said it started as a regular checkup, and then they changed it like a day later to please pray for Rick.
Why? What is it?
They're not saying anything.
That I can't. I prayed for Rick when I've seen him taken away on different matches. I saw an ambulance, which I kind of feel like when you use an ambulance that way, it's wrong.
Yeah.
It's just wrong.
I mean, gigging is one thing.
Yeah. But somebody somewhere could use that ambulance.
It is
and then
real.
You guys are like, hey, we're going to rent you guys for the night.
They trashed one. They trashed one. If they rammed one into a wall a few weeks ago.
He always gets too deep, he does with Big Brother.
That's him. He's as deep as a well.
I'm just saying they've trashed a lot of ambulances.
He's as quiet as a cup. While we take a break here, it's the Bennington Show, and we'll be right back. Yeah, buddies, it's the Bennington Show, Monday, dog days of August. Feel pleasantly cool. Good thing? Or bad thing? We don't know.
Global warming? Global freezing?
August used to be a terrible time to live in New York City. And now I'm out this morning going like this. Oh, this is so nice. I wish I didn't have to go into work today.
Yeah, I feel like we've had a handful of real summer days.
Guess
normally
what?
It's
over the last 3 years.
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't just hey, this is a weird August. We've been saying that the last several years.
Yesterday was a really nice day here. And I went out to Fire Island to visit some
gay.
Yes, to visit some gays who have renting a house out there with their friends. I've never been to Fire Island before. It was so fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, it's great.
I had no idea that that's what it was like.
Yeah.
Like, not only is it really beautiful, and it's crazy because there's no cars on the island, so it's just everyone gets around by foot. It's really calm.
What do you drive out and then park your car?
You drive out, you park your car, you get on a ferry that takes you out to the island. You're on the ferry for like 20 minutes. It's like a short ride. You get there, and it is like full-on gay paradise. And then I believe that different sections of the island have different kinds of vibes. Like, I think there's kind of a more party section.
Fucktown.
Where, like, people are claiming that, like, there's just, like, orgies on the beach, like, in the middle of, like, everything. But I went to this one section that was, like, sophisticated gays with their adopted children, like, the most beautiful architecture. I could not believe this place is like a fucking paradise.
Everybody's been saying this for decades,
and
because it's a little annoying to get to, and you're called gay just for going.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, this is the most gentrified place, I guess, in the history of the world. But it's also one of those things where the light is supposed to be great at night. So if you're a painter or whatever, it's like a fantastic place.
It's stunningly beautiful. The sunset there was beautiful, but it's kind of like overgrown, like tall beach grass.
It's like a Weekend at Bernie's.
Yeah, it's kind of like what you would want, like the Hamptons and like Montauk to be like. You'd want it to be like that. It would be like a cooler version of that. Like the Hamptons,
because you got the gays.
Yeah, like
they
with better taste.
Cooler. Yeah,
it kind of it reminded me of what's that great it was like a really cool movie where he's out in Montauk or the Hamptons and he's a painter and he paints with the squid ink.
Oh, Door on the Floor.
Yeah, that's it. Door on the Floor.
I always want to call that Widow for a Year because that's the book it came from.
Right. That's why I couldn't remember the title. But it had that thing where like all the houses are kind of modern, but it's like fucking like driftwood style.
Yeah.
It's like the fucking coolest
They used to call that
ever.
Salt Box. I don't think they do anymore, but that kind of beach house that's just so like groovy, like natural and fits in with the environment.
Yeah, and then all like glass and these like natural like sunken pools. It's just fucking crazy there. Yeah. And like it's like one of those things where immediately like you start going like, oh my God, that would be so cool too. And I'm like, oh, like appropriate it and have a bunch of straight people come in here. Like this is exactly probably what they don't want.
You know, the other night, I'm just going to take it back to the gay thing. So I'm at the stand and I'm like crowd working. I'm doing that bit that we had done. Like, what's the amount of cocks any woman could have before it gets to be like, oh, that's too many. And then I made the joke. It's the leading figures are Jersey girls and gay guys, right? So Jersey girls and gay guys have had the most dicks. And this kid just does like this. Not this gay guy. I was with 12 men before I met my fiance. So already that's just
gold.
Fucking, yeah, it's just pure gold. And the rest of my night is set. You know what I mean? I'm just set. And this is the young gay guy and he's with his parents. And his parents are sitting there, and I go, and they're very proud of him, and they're great. And I'm like, when did you know that he was gay? Because he said, I go, I got into the thing of him, like, when you came out, was it a weird thing? He goes, I didn't come out. My parents pulled me out. You know, they forced me to say it and to accept myself, which was, again, just so great. And I said to his parents, when did you know? And they said 3.
Oh
and
he
goes 3 years old. And I go, well, how did you know at age 3? And they said he played with dolls and wanted to do everybody's hair in the whole fucking house. And it's just that funny thing that you get into, that thing that is so funny when there's a little kid in the family and everyone's just like, look, you know, you don't want to say, young man, you're so gay. You know what I mean? Like, that's as bad, I think, as yelling you're not gay.
Oh, totally.
But it's that kept joke.
But then, like, those kids whether depending on the family, like whether they are going to like accept it or not accept it or deny it or whatever, like those kids are always so fun to be around.
They're the best.
Because I had a friend who I went to a family gathering of his, and he had like a little nephew. And everyone is just like, he's such a great performer.
Right.
He has a beautiful voice. He's a great dancer. And his mom is just like, and he's so clean. I mean, sometimes 11 p.m., I'm like, what's that noise? He's vacuuming his bedroom. I mean, is he the best kid? And we're like, he is. But they're kind of a conservative family, and we're just kind of laughing like, yes, he is quite unique.
Those David Sedaris books are so funny because he's always talking about how when he was a little kid, he was, arguing with his parents they couldn't get certain kind of curtains. You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't come into my room and look at these disgusting curtains.
Yeah.
And my room would have looked, my room was unfinished, if I'm going to be totally honest.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was just a place for me to flop at night like a fucking drunk sailor on leave. Yeah.
Meanwhile, this kid is up there vacuuming. I'm like, the hills are alive with the sound of music. Hey, everybody.
I like
what is he doing up there?
I like kids that are like obsessed with show tunes and
it's so cute.
Yeah, it's great.
But you know what? I thought when I was on Fire Island, like these gay parents with their kids, and I was like, these are the best dressed kids I've ever seen. Yeah. These kids. I mean, at the house I was at, one of the couples had a daughter, and she was just like so picture perfect in her little outfits, and I was just like, oh my god, this is so fun. She's like a little baby doll.
Well, I think the difference is that when there's gay parents, right, those kids have two parents that love them. Right. I think that's the difference between a straight couple raising
two maternal parents.
Yeah, two parents that just unconditionally love the children. Not one of the parents going like this. What are they doing up there?
Right.
Oh, today's his birthday. I'm always amazed by people who know when it's somebody else's birthday.
Yeah, I mean, that's very impressive too. I'm not good with that either.
I'm terrible with it.
Some people are just like, you've got a birthday coming up in 2.5 weeks.
Well, look at Chris. He claims, whether it's true or not, he claims he didn't know it was his own birthday not too long ago.
I swear to God, I forgot. I swear to God, anything. I did.
But why would anybody believe you when you swear to God, Ratso Rizzo?
Yeah.
There's nothing about you. You're a usual suspect.
He really is. I believe nothing from this dude.
No, there's nothing to believe.
I'm trustworthy.
Anything he says to me, I'm like,
Now, do you think that anyone who can't remember their own birthday could ever be a nurturing parent?
No.
No, there will be no traditions. He's going to be the kind of dad that says to the kids, why do we got to get a Christmas tree every year?
Right.
It's a valid question.
Look at the neighbor's pumpkin. That's plenty. I always think it's funny, like, the people who want to do up Christmas versus the people who are like, oh, I see it's Christmas, I'll get a tree. But the people who, and, in a lot of ways, the people who really embrace Christmas ruin it for other people.
Yeah. I mean, there are people who are too eager. That's for sure. Where you're like, you are fucking enjoying this way too much. Your house is decked out. You're hanging on to your decorations way too long. But in Brooklyn, I've noticed, and maybe this is the same in like the suburbs, but I think that neighbors start to outdo each other. Like in my neighborhood, there'll be like a block that's like fucking Christmas 110%. And then like another one that's just like, we have a couple decorations. It's like once they see their next door neighbor, like, oh, he thinks he's going to fucking put
that is true to that.
10 times the amount of lights to this dude.
Hey, believe me, let me tell you something. The Carbones have no idea what's coming at them this year, okay? We're going to make the fucking Carbones look like filthy fucking Jews. That's a great fucking bit.
Dude, I on my block, and I live on a block that out Christmases each other every year. And there is an Italian family, very right-wing Italian family, who every year it's like they get, like, now there's, like, an animated, like Santa, and, like, there's, like, a train that goes around their, tiny front yard.
I go over, and just walk around, smoke a cigar at night, and enjoy the lights. But one of them had a bouncy house. So the kids could come by, bounce a little bit, and the Christmas cheer. We'll put a fucking bouncy house out there, and the Carbones don't have no idea what is coming their way. Blue lights? Excuse me? Blue? I don't think so.
What do you want to say?
Some of those people, they also like time it together with music. So it's like a light show, like you went to see fucking Yes or something.
Yes, exactly.
I'm like,
you gotta think the amount of fucking money these people just sunk into something that only should be up for like 2 weeks.
But here's the thing. Do you want to take that shit down and then repack it and put it up in your
Just turn it off, you think?
Just throw it out. Just take it down, throw it out.
You look nothing crazier than a person who leaves it up too long.
I have a couple sick fucks on my block that you're like, they're pushing Easter almost, and you could still see they've got lights up. You could see, even worse than the lights outside, which I kind of get because that's like, sometimes it's freezing. There's like a lot of snow. But when you see these people who have the tree in their house, you can see from their window, and it's like 2 months later. You're like, you have a fucking problem, dude. You have a real problem, and you're freaking everyone out.
But this is the thing. What if instead of calling them Christmas lights, we called them winter lights? It annoys me. Christmas comes way too early in the year. Christmas should be January 25th. Midway, help us get through the winter months.
Right.
Not early on. Because people are like, I love winter. Yeah, you do until January 1st.
Then you hate it.
And now this is the gut of the winter you got to get through without nothing. And don't tell me Valentine's Day. No one gives a fuck about it.
In fact, they hate it.
Who cares about that?
This is the worst one.
But wouldn't it be nicer if it was January 25th? Most of the time we'd have a fucking white Christmas. It's rare to have a white Christmas, but it's not rare to have a white January 25th. So, Mr. President, if you do care about the alt-right, here's the thing I need you to do. Move that shit back, and we call it American Christmas. Okay? This is the time. We're not saying that Jesus was born on January 25th. We're saying this is when the Americans celebrate it.
Yeah, I think it is like way too early in there, because you're right. You could get like an unseasonably warm Christmas way more often than a white Christmas. I've had so many more Christmases in the Northeast where you're like, it's kind of hot, muggy, rainy. It's just shit. It's depressing.
Well, you're only fucking something like 6 days into winter.
It sucks.
You know what I mean? You ever been 6 days into spring and go, oh my God, it's beautiful with the flowers? No. Spring is very fucking, Groundhog's Day, they will say 6 more weeks of winter. That's in fucking February?
Yeah.
Forget it. Forget this whole holiday. If you don't change it, then we're not doing it anymore. You know what? I'm not saying even say we're changing Jesus' birthday. Have a small celebration. Take Christmas off, and then we have American Christmas, January 25th, where we tell the Carbones that their stupid shit looks like nothing. The Carbones.
So do we take the Christ out of Christmas and just make it like a Santa day?
I would love to have it. That's what I mean by American Christmas.
Yeah.
All this shit that isn't religious. Give December 25th back to the Catholics. Give me a nice church day.
Right.
You can get together with your family, have a little meal like you do at Thanksgiving. But no presents. Anyone gives out a present, the alt-right comes and grabs them.
I like
with
that.
The tiki torches.
Yes.
I mean, this is something worth getting your tiki torches lit over. This is worth the trip to Party City.
Let's go over to Jack in D.C. Jack.
Hey, Ronnie B. Hey, my pop, thank God he's a brother in recovery. He's been sober for about 20 years, but he left his Christmas tree up until Easter, right before his last bender, during his last bender.
Well, yeah, here's the thing. People don't realize that is the time of the year that alcohol is at its biggest use.
Yes.
And the reason is, of course, it isn't a frosty cold beer. It's heavy brown liquors.
Straight scotch.
Right. And again, for some reason, it seems like the time of year that nobody, even the people who don't drink very much, don't judge people for drinking a lot. They're like, hey, it's Christmas.
He misses his grandfather.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when he was a little kid, life was different. So now he sits, and that's what does happen to you as you get older. Is you get older and you're like, my grandmother used to love Christmas and now she's dead. More brown liquor, please. But in my neighborhood, we used to go around and visit each other on Christmas Eve. The friends would, the relatives would.
Yeah.
And you would come into someone's home, you would give them a bottle of liquor, and they would give you a bottle of liquor. So you'd leave, you know, and then you'd drink with them for a little while. You'd go down the street with somebody else. And you would leave your house with fucking 8 fucking bottles of liquor and come home with 8 bottles of liquor. And then those 8, you don't want them around after the new year. You know what I mean? Please.
Get rid of them.
That'll keep the drinking going on too long. Let's spend the next 11 days in a total blackout. And I guarantee you, if you haven't spent the entire fucking Christmas season in a total blackout, I'm going to say you're not an alcoholic and you're probably a pussy. I'm going to be totally honest about it. Because I've had Christmas seasons, I don't remember shit.
There's a party every single night.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are open bars, too.
There's a,
nuts.
there's pictures, in my family. I guess I was in high school at the time. And you just see me, I'm fucking up Christmas morning. I look like shit. First of all, I'm wearing a union suit, right?
The best look.
And my fucking hair looks like Chris's today. And there's just bruises all over me from friends and foes. You know what I mean? Some were real fights, and some were just me and my friends fucking around. And I just look like shit, and I'm far too young to look like that. And that's how I stayed. You know what I mean?
Like, you shouldn't have looked like you lived that hard.
You know. There's, I wanted to bring this up to you, because I don't know whether your man has seen this. But I think it's the last movie that Philip Seymour Hoffman ever did, and it's called God's Pocket, and it's based on the Devil's Pocket or the Pocket in Philly. Have you guys ever seen it?
No, I don't think. I don't think he has either.
It's this little Irish fucking neighborhood that probably doesn't even exist anymore due to gentrification. But this is what I wanted to say about it. I'm going to say this to Hollywood actors and even New York stage actors. If something takes place in Boston, you go out of your way to get the fucking accent, right? You can't wait. Oh, he parked a car in Harvard Yard. You can't wait to fucking do that accent. And then you go to Philly, and you have no idea how to do the accent and don't even try. And there's been some extras who talk correctly, but most of the time you guys going like this. You know, man, like, we got to do this Philly style.
Come on. That's the worst.
We're in the fucking pocket. You're just like, why don't you do your fucking homework? I'm not asking you to write this. I'm not asking you to fucking come up with the costumes. I'm not asking you to strike the sets. But you're an actor. Sound like the place you live. You're going to do something in D.C. and go, hey, I'll tell you something. D.C. style don't go down that way. If you do, you're as bad as that fucking season of The Wire where they put New Jersey longshoremen in the middle of this. And Chris is going, this is great. You get to steal stuff off the trucks. Look, Chris, it doesn't fucking work that way. They missed it. That's why people hated it. But they do this in the pocket.
I think that the Philly accent never gets done in movies when it takes place. And I also think it's very rare to hear like a Baltimore accent. Those two accents, which are both very, very unique, not represented enough for how great they are and how strange they are.
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely strange and unique. And the way that Boston is a very unique accent. Minnesota is a very unique accent. You never see people even try to pull off the annoying Pittsburgh accent in movies. You know?
Right.
That's a very annoying, fantastic accent that those fuckers do.
Yeah, that one.
Get it right.
Is beyond me. I think like if you don't grow up around it or like get to hear it enough, because like there are elements of it that are like Pennsylvania-like and similar, but it's not everything.
Then it meets that Midwestern weird fucking metallic sound.
Just like Baltimore accent is similar to Philly accent, but then there's like a Southern thing that's happening. Well, it's like the more Southern version of the Philly accent.
The Eastern Shore accent is fucking terrific, and most of my there's a lot of people in my family have it. And you got to lean way in because it's like the Philly accent slowed down and slurred.
Exactly.
You're like, I have no idea what you're saying. Do you just use the term waterman? What is that, a fisherman? Is that what a waterman is? They don't want to limit it. Like, they do more things than fish.
One time, in one of those, like, American Horror Story seasons, Kathy Bates, for reasons unknown, did that accent. There was no backstory for why her character was, like, from Baltimore or anything like that. And she was fucking nailing it. And I was like, this is amazing. Like, this is worth just watching this show to hear Kathy Bates kill this accent right
Kathy Bates is an artist, and I appreciate all the work that you've done, Kathy. Now, please, any movie done in Philly that they're not using the Philly accent, I want to see people showing up with tiki torches and just not putting up with it anymore.
This is crazy. They're not doing Philly accent. Come on, boys. They're just lining the streets.
But this movie, I mean, they shoot it in the fucking neighborhood, and there's so many low-rent things that are just funny if you're from there, but the accent was... Jack would love this.
Yeah.
And the guy who wrote the original book was, like, a big writer for the Daily News when I was a kid. And he literally, when you were a columnist, and this happened in New York, Chicago, D.C., when you were a columnist, like, you got your picture in... You were famous.
Yeah.
Whether you were a sports columnist or a news columnist, you were a famous guy in town. I don't know whether that even exists. We used to put writers in high esteem, whether you wrote novels, nonfiction, or you were the local guy from the paper. People would read something they hated in the paper, and there would be thousands of things.
Yeah, I don't think that they have that same kind of celebrity status anymore, like local celebrity status.
I don't know if people read the papers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they don't read the papers.
The last columnist I remember like that was like Mike Lupica, who wrote for the Daily News. But even then, that was a long time ago.
But to be totally honest, well, he still writes for him every fucking week. But to be totally honest, he also was on TV.
Oh, yeah.
And these people, yeah. And so that's what happened. Like,
they already like knew him visually and had like a personality.
You also get to do both. You know what I mean? You get to go back and forth. We'll never have it just based on writing. And these guys were celebrities. People would argue with them. People would wonder if they were writing the truth. Who was the guy in New York? We had him on the show one time. He had followed the whole Son of Sam thing. And by the way, all these guys were heavy drinkers. A lot of them would do their columns from the bar.
Yeah.
And they would write about the cops, the mayors, the fucking potholes. I mean, you were very attached to the things that they wrote about. Crime. I remember being a kid, and you would just read these guys, and you're just like, oh, so the city's shit, huh? It used to be great.
Jimmy Breslin?
Yeah, Jimmy Breslin. And Son of Sam actually wrote to him first.
Yeah.
Like,
really?
He didn't write to the cops. He taunted Jimmy Breslin.
Oh, that's
and
so
Breslin
weird.
would fight back with Son of Sam. You're a coward. You have no respect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those things were really fucking, really, really interesting. But the guy in Philly, his name was Pete Dexter, I think was his name. And I remember that he was having trouble with local guys over something, right? And he took Tex Cobb to the fucking argument with it, right? Tex Cobb was the guy who knocked down, no, he was I'll tell you who Tex Cobb was. He was a prize fighter, but he was the guy that played the, Raising Arizona. He
totally,
was
yeah.
And these guys, these local fucking Philly guys beat the fuck out of Tex Cobb.
Holy shit.
They were fucking hitting them with fucking bats and sticks and shit. And they, you know what I mean? Like this shit. I try to explain to people how much physical fighting used to take place when I was a little kid. Like adults would settle things with their fist all the time. You know, like you would have a problem with your neighbor and his lawnmower, and instead of like taking it up with the local cop, you would just go over, fucking kick his door in and start punching him while his wife was screaming.
Well, I was just talking to someone who is, he's in a band, so he tours a lot, and he said he was saying that he thinks that Philly is just like hands down the toughest city. And he's like, I don't mean like, I don't think like, you know, there are other cities that are scary or sketchy. He's just like, it's just like everyone is just so tough there. Like there's a toughness about them. And it's not necessarily even to say good neighborhood or bad neighborhood. All the neighborhoods, like you kind of have the feeling that those people are ready to defend what they want to defend.
And it's not as tough as it used to be.
Yeah.
But the people still tell their kids, hey, you got to punch somebody that's fucking with you.
Mm-hmm.
Like they have that, and it used to be like a lot of times if the kids were fighting, sometimes the parents ended up fighting, like fucking physically fighting with each other.
Right.
But yeah, their thing isn't just a matter of poverty. Their thing is just something they do. They think it's stupid not to fight. And it certainly isn't as crazy as it used to be, but it's still alarmingly crazy to people.
Yeah.
When you're not from there.
Sure.
You're like, I was at a bar and these guys just started hitting each other with bottles.
Physically hitting?
Yeah. Went on for like an hour. And even like you would, like when you would go and like play basketball in a rec, like it could turn into an actual fight. Softball games break into giant fucking fights.
Like you have to actually decide if you want to join a game, and you're like, I don't know if I'm in the mood to get in a fight after.
There was this thing when I was a kid, and I don't want to say who the guy was. So it's a fucking pitcher's duel, right? Little league pitcher's duel, and it fucking 0-0, bottom of the sixth, which is the end of the game, and there's a fucking walk off, fucking home run. All the kids are going crazy because their guy, and you know you're waiting at home plate and you're picking them up and shit. The other fucking pitcher runs over and gets his bat, and he just fucking comes swinging into that, and kids are running, jumping over the field. He was going after the parents, and everybody's like, what the fuck was wrong with you? And he's like, you know, I gave up that home run. And then they're all being fucking happy about it. It just drove me fucking crazy. Like, you know what? In hindsight, we were both wrong. Many sides. Many sides.
So many.
We're wrong with this. But I think they call it Devil's Pocket. But that wasn't the name of the neighborhood even. No, they called God's Pocket. But
yeah.
The people called it the Pocket. Or they called it Devil's Pocket. But it was just this. It was the Irish part of kind of South Philly. Which, again, who can keep an Irish neighborhood going? You know what I mean? Like, where's the purity connected to Ireland these days? But this is one of the things of gentrification that, in my opinion, it makes the city a little more boring.
Yeah, there is definitely problems with what happens, and people disperse, and then, you know, you lose the identity of what that place once was.
And this is what happens when you don't teach your children to be prejudiced. When you don't teach your children to be prejudiced, they mix with each other. And you don't have that thing of the Italian neighborhood, the Irish neighborhood, the Polish neighborhood, all because...
For some reason, they're not embarrassed to date each other.
But this
like it.
Progress also costs you something. You know what I mean? That's why some people are conservative or traditionals, because they hate giving up those traditions. Because there's something there used to be the Pulaski Day fucking parade when I was a kid. The Polish people would just throw this crazy party, and it was great, and everybody showed up to it. But now, do you have enough Polish people to do a Pulaski Day parade in Chester? I don't think so.
Yeah.
And everybody loved that parade. You didn't have to be like the Polish people, like, this is our day, yay. But if you don't have pure Polish people, why would the kids grow up?
Yeah. Like, that's just like you were saying, an Irish neighborhood. Polish neighborhoods are very uncommon, with the exception of, like, Chicago has, you know, Polish neighborhoods and Greenpoint, Brooklyn, and that's like supposed to be like the largest group of Polish people outside of, it's like Poland, then Chicago, and then Greenpoint, Brooklyn.
But you know, the Little Italy in New York is a made-up thing now. It was real.
Yeah.
Now it's like, hey, this is a great place that we could have Italian restaurants, half a block. But it's still, oddly enough, an immigrant neighborhood. But the Lower East Side, which was considered hip, was a Jewish neighborhood. And that whole thing is going too. Now, you can't say to the Jews, hey, I want you to stay in the slums. You know what I mean? And really keep that fun culture thing going. And there'll be 8 of you and 1 bedroom and a bathroom down the hall. People don't do that. And that's what happened with Little Italy, is like, you really look at those fucking apartments and they weren't livable.
No, yeah, I went to see an apartment when I was apartment hunting once, on the fucking street, like on Mulberry, just because, not because I ever thought that was a good idea, because I was like, I gotta know what it's like inside.
What's in that?
So I went inside and it was like the teeniest, all exposed bricks, so old. But I was like, it's cool for sure, but it's like, it felt like a time capsule. Like you're like, oh, this is not even, like you wouldn't even make an apartment building that would be set up like this. Well, like just like the layout itself, you're like, this is not conducive to just like modern day living.
Well, when you go to the San Gennaro festival, every year you're down there with Italians and they brought their little kids and they're going, this is so sad because this used to be amazing when I was a kid. And now look at it and you're like, yeah, but you're the ones that didn't live there.
Right, you left, yeah.
And it would be kind of crazy if the Italians were like, we just want to live together. You know what I mean? We want to have a block that's ours. And anyone comes into that block, we won't like them. Like when I was a kid, South Philly, the Italians, right? Hey, this was a time when Philly was crazy crime. But in South Philly, you could park a car in front of your house, leave the fucking keys in it, and not worry. Because that's how the neighborhood took care of themselves. And when, the grandmother died, one of the kids would one of the grandkids would move into that house and the tradition would go on. And it used to be, it would be impossible for you as an outsider to go, I want to live in South Philly with those Italians. Because there was a line in front of every house. But then they were like, people started to move out to the suburbs and they'd be like, look at all the room and you can have a barbecue out here. And, of course, so people started to do it. But then you give up that sense of community. Matt Manhattan. Matt.
Hey, Ronnie.
Yeah.
I've been listening since WNEW days, man.
Good to talk to you.
Hey, so I saw God's Pocket, and when I started watching, I could have swore it was from the part of North Jersey that I'm from. Right. I thought they filmed it under the Turnpike, under the Pulaski Skyway. Yeah, they missed the Philly accent by a mile.
Yeah, it's a really good point. And that would have, why not just change that story and make it there? You know what I mean? Instead of acting like it's a Philly story. Charles, South Carolina.
What's happening? How you doing, Ronnie B?
Good.
So I grew up in the South Carolina. I am going to a bachelor party for my college roommate in Philly. First time I've been to Philly. One of his buddies picks me up, and he's a high school teacher. So it's a great part of the trip. I get a tour of Philly between the airport and Broad Street, where we were staying.
Yeah.
Get downtown, and I see this redheaded guy get out of his car with a baseball bat. Behind him, African-American fellow, reaching inside of his trunk, grabs a pistol, puts it in his waistband, and then we drive off. We drive right beside it. Obviously, I don't know what the hell is going on, but I see that in Philly. I'm like, what the hell? Where am I? Obviously, these two guys, hopefully they didn't kill each other, but it was a wild scene.
Yeah, people were always ready to go, this is the proper way to settle this mix-up.
What do you think was the shift? Like, obviously it happened a couple decades ago. What was the shift that you think it became a different way to parent?
Well, because now if your kid beats up somebody from school, he's out of that school, right? So you got to start to say to your kids, you can't punch somebody just because they annoy you. Go to a teacher. And all those things were done, for the right reasons. And, now people get mad at, teach. It's a very weird thing that's happened with teaching. It's the difference between my generation or my parents' generation. My generation was did the teacher hit you? Then I'm going to hit you too. My generation with the kids was our kids can't be hit.
Yeah.
Not by teachers, not by other children.
And maybe that's just being a product of you guys got hit and you were like, I didn't like that.
I think it really came from an outside place. I think it had to do with the schools saying we need to be safer.
Right.
You want your kids to be safe. You don't want your kids to fight.
Right. Like, when you think of it logically, you're going to be like, yeah, no one's going to hit my fucking kid. I mean, like, I hear that. I'm like, I would go fucking bananas.
But the downside of that is nobody will keep your kid from being annoying now.
Right.
Like, there are kids that need to be hit to fucking, so they shut the fuck up a little bit or stop it with their stupidness. You know what I mean? Like
if you're in a restaurant, you see a kid acting up and you're like, someone's got to come forward on this, right?
But you know what?
Step in.
Or then you end up becoming an internet troll. And you're an internet troll because you can't be hit. I was a wise ass kid, but there was plenty of places I wouldn't be a wise ass because I could get fucking destroyed for it.
Right.
Or I had to adjust the way I was a wise ass.
So you think maybe even just having a place to channel that energy, be able to be that person, means you don't just like become that person 100% of the time.
No, I think you understand how the fucking jungle works. You know what I mean? That there are a time, like the fucking lions think they're big shits until the fucking hippos come around.
Right.
Or the rhino, or the fucking rhinos. And you just start to learn the ways of the world. But like, if you look at internet trolls, these are people who don't have to defend what they say. So they say stupid, antisocial stuff. Where if you could be hit, you have to now start to adjust yourself like a lawyer and go, I have to make this fit inside this system.
Right.
You know?
I might feel this way about this person, but it's not worth getting my fucking ass lifted.
And how do I change this person's mind instead of just yelling out thick as shit?
Right.
You know? Or how do I not just yell, how do I not talk too much? Till someone fucking gives me a smack and say, you fucking never stop talking. Believe me, I've been fucking smacked for talking too much. I fucking get it. Start listening a little bit. But, you know, things don't stay the same. If they didn't change in this way, they changed in another. There, outside of our door right now, Kathy Moriarty. Let me just say this. Bronx Tale. Kathy Moriarty made anybody who saw that movie gasp. The beauty of her playing, was it Vicky LaMotta?
Vicky, yeah.
Raging Bull, yeah.
Did I say Raging Bull?
You said Bronx Tale.
Thank you for, it took you a while, but you got around to it. Thank you for not letting me be silly. Raging Bull. Go back and watch that movie now. Watch Neighbors.
Oh shit.
So scary, sexy in that. She's in a new movie. He's getting a lot of buzz. Patty Cakes that has our friend in it.
Yes. Bridget Everett is also in the movie. And, it's kind of got that, like, indie darling thing where everyone's kind of buzzing about it.
Some people are calling it White Precious. Some people have called it Fat 8 Mile.
Yes.
I don't read deeply into a lot of these things. All right. Let's jump into bringing in Kathy Moriarty. Springsteen song from Patty Cakes.
I know.
Isn't that great?
It wasn't there last month, and it's there now.
Is that right? It got added a little bit as they decided to film this.
I didn't really even know about it.
Yeah.
Until the other night, I had to do a Q&A or whatever it was. And the credits were rolling and the song came on and I was like, Jersey.
Yeah. Well, I think this song was like a song from like The River or something that he didn't use at the time, or maybe Darkness at the Edge of Town.
Maybe.
There's some great music that he did not put on albums.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They reached out to him and they're like, oh, he's never going to give it to us. And he did.
Wow.
And,
That is so sweet. Yeah.
It was amazing. And the show that he's about to start now where he plays songs and just moderates, and I can't wait.
You're going to go to that one too when he does that on Broadway?
Yes, well, let's see if we can get tickets, right? I'm sure somebody's got some.
But yes, that does give it that Jersey
It just wrapped it all up so nicely in a pretty package with the bow, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really sweet because I think that that's what's great about Jersey music too, is that like I think the younger generation kind of keep that pride. It's a movie. It's a movie about a genre of music that is not the same.
Yeah.
It's so weird because it's New York, New Jersey, whatever, Connecticut. Yeah. It's all the same to some people,
right?
But it's so segregated. New York and then Jersey music.
Right.
They keep it to themselves. They don't bring it across that border,
No, it's very, very true. And I remember...
Dave Bon Jovi, just Grateful Dead, just everybody from Jersey stays in Jersey.
Yeah. I remember being a kid, and I lived outside of Philly, so I listened to Philly radio, and when they would break Bruce in Jersey, a guy by the name of Ed Shockey was the first guy to play him. We loved, and we're like, well, he's like Philly, Jersey.
Right.
And then New York was like, no, he's like New York, Jersey. And we used to fight over Springsteen. Isn't that crazy when you think about it now?
And if you ask him, he's not Philly.
No.
He's Jersey.
Yeah, he stayed in Jersey. No, where did you grow up, Kathy?
I was born in the Bronx and then grew up in Westchester, but I moved to California when I was 17.
Is that right? As soon as Raging Bull?
Maybe a little before.
A little before? Yeah. And that was like, you were one of those people, your first film out changed everything.
Well, it started everything for that matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what was that tough, or was that just great?
It definitely had its perks. It definitely had its benefits, but it didn't. It also had its downfalls because now you're pretty much segregated. It's your first movie. It's your only movie. Nobody's going to look at you for anything else because there's such tunnel vision, knowing that you're so young. How much training do you have? Can you play anything else?
Right.
And it's when you start up there, it's really hard to kind of top it.
Right.
So anything you do is not going to even compete with it,
Yeah, what
it's hindsight 2020. I don't know what you want to call it, but it's like, what do you do from that?
Sure.
Yeah, not just like the way other people perceive you, but I'm sure for yourself, that being your first experience in a way.
You're like,
Right, exactly.
Well, you're working with the director of his generation, the actor of his generation. So where do you go? Were you even intimidated as a young person being in that situation, or too young to know that yet?
I was too cool to have fear at 17. Right. I knew everything. I was all that in a bag of chips.
Yeah.
And I would never, I would never be able to go and do that at a different age because I would be scared to death and I'd be puking everywhere.
Right. But naive enough to go, oh, yeah, I do belong here. I'm a part of this.
I had no fear.
Yeah.
I just had no fear.
Well, that movie is still obviously so beloved and it's so important and special. But I always think I have this memory of me and my best friend, Victor Resuk, who's an actor as well now. And we were walking through the city and happened across the pool where from Raging Bull. And he picked it up first and he's like, this is it. And we didn't realize it was on the block of the high school we were going to be going to.
Such an iconic scene.
Yeah.
This is a stupid little story, but it's cute. Back then, do you remember the Daily News? They had the centerfold.
Yeah.
So there was somebody up on top of the buildings taking pictures. And when my father passed away, in his wallet, he had this centerfold that they had taken of us at the pool. And he had it all folded up, all tight in a little thing, and he had it in his wallet because I think he was so proud. And he went to work, and everybody's like, "Your daughter made the centerfold." He's like, "What?" At first he was, what are you talking about? and he had that all folded up for 30 years.
Can you imagine now that you are an adult, how stunning that must have been for him to go through, to suddenly this is his little girl is in the middle?
My father always, and my mother too, always believed in me and always knew. And he knew I wanted to be an actress since I was very young. And he said to me one day, I was always he said to me one day, he goes, "Kathy, sometimes people are a little odd. He goes, odd's not bad.
Uh-huh.
And I got it. And
right.
He was like, you're a little off.
Right.
He said, but you're going to be okay.
Right. And that's what that is the thing. You got your daughter with you today.
Say hi, little Kath.
Hi.
Hi, nice to see you. And this is my daughter, Gail. So it's like a little family show together that we're doing.
Talking to the mic.
But that thing that you tried to say to your kids, that the whole being part of a group feels great when you're younger, but that also holds you back as well, Well,
sometimes. I mean, after I did Raging Bull, I wanted to do something completely different than a hard drama. So I figured, let me go do a comedy.
Mm-hmm.
And I figured, who's better to work with than John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd?
Neighbors.
The timing just really wasn't good. And I ended up being the last person to work with John Belushi.
Yeah, and I always remember the controversy of that movie, too, because it was like Aykroyd played the Belushi part, Belushi played the Aykroyd.
Roles.
But if you go back and watch it, it's still pretty interesting, even if it didn't work 100%.
It's so funny, I never could go back and ever watch it.
Really?
Yeah, and you had John Avildsen, who had just won the Oscar for Rocky directing. Right. No, I can't.
Is it because of John?
Yeah, I just never could.
I tell this to people that people that don't remember Belushi in the same way, that when I was a kid and Belushi died, my mom checked on me like 3 times, like I'd lost a best friend. My mom would go, hey, honey, you okay? Like now I've realized she was like, oh, I hope he doesn't do something crazy. But that's how brokenhearted I was.
I was destroyed.
Yeah.
Absolutely destroyed. He was my friend and he mentored me and bring me down to Saturday Night Live and buy me these unbelievable roast beef sandwiches that were this big. And,
yeah.
He was my friend, and he was one of John's biggest problems is he had too much talent.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just comedic talent. He wanted to be a serious actor, and he was capable of it. He was good.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, we lost him way too soon.
Yeah.
We lost him way too soon.
And that was one for, let's say, people of our generation that we didn't see coming. Like now you kind of realize, somebody has a problem.
Because I knew John for years.
Yeah.
I mean, this he did not do. So
yeah.
I never saw it. And we knew, party, blah, blah, blah. Not that.
Not heroin. No.
And no needles.
No needles at all. People even said that he had a phobia of needles.
That wasn't, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah. What happens, I guess, is sometimes that when you're around darkness, that you're with the wrong people at the wrong time. Any of us could end up in the wrong room.
That's why sometimes it takes a long time to figure out, what does Mommy always say, Kathy? Make sure you live in the light.
Yeah.
Live in the light.
Live in the light.
Yeah.
Live in the light. And sometimes, sometimes we all, get into a moment and you got to fight like hell to get out of it. Man.
Yeah.
And don't give up.
Right. And it is, life is fragile. It is incredibly fragile.
But it's also precious.
Yeah.
So, you have to treat it that way.
Kathy Moriarty is in studio with us. Patty Cakes comes out in select theaters this Friday, August 18th. For more information, go to foxsearchlight.com.
And this is a role that, first of all, I wouldn't even have recognized it unless...
Thank you, I'm glad.
Because you go in a whole different...
I play a little 75-year-old, chain-smoking, cranky old lady who sits in a wheelchair. And I hope I'm unrecognizable. I'm really hoping. Kathy's going to see it tonight with Mom. We're going to go to the premiere, right?
I'm going to see it tonight.
You're going to see it tonight. But, and I rap.
Yeah.
So, I tell my kids, I said, I play a little old lady and curses and raps. They're like, you rap. Because every time I get in the car with my kids, I'm like, shut it off. But this music, I actually like it. It's more hip-hoppy and I like the lyrics, and it's a good movie, and it's got a great message, and I don't know, we kind of summed it up today that it's kind of like 8 Miles meets Rocky meets Rudy.
Right.
And you root for the underdog. The girl Danielle McDonald is astounding. Absolutely astounding. She's the girl from Australia who learned how to do a Jersey accent, rap.
Wow. I understand that she's from Australia. I did not know this until you said it.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
She's absolutely brilliant. Worked on this for years. Bridget Everett, powerhouse. I mean,
a friend of ours does the show all the time.
Tear the house down. You know?
She's incredible.
Oh, stop. I stalk her. I literally stalk her. She's amazing. And this kid, Sid, who they found on it, not YouTube, I forget the name of it, but whatever. And Mamadou Ache, who's astounding, but, you know, he's like the Yale drama graduate. And then there's poor old me, Nana.
Yeah.
And I try and keep it all together.
You play the Nana.
I play the Nana, right?
Yes.
That's right, Kath.
Look, Kath, do you like seeing your mom in movies? Is that
yes.
fun? Yeah. Do you have a favorite?
Casper.
Everyone always talks about that when you get to do the movie that your kids can watch, because it's not like you could.
Took me a while to get one. Took me a while to get, but you know, my kids were impressed with one day they were watching Hey Arnold or cartoons, and I do the voice. I used to anyway. Do the voices on it, and they're like, "That you?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah." They're like, "Oh, now that's cool."
Yeah, finally.
That's cool. But I remember Kathy's twin brother is Casper Meets Wendy was on, and he's watching the movie. He looks at me, looks back at the movie, and looks at me. He goes, "You're so weird." You know, they're so they're just not impressed with any of it. Do you like the movie stuff? You do? Okay, good.
Especially Casper. Out of everything, Casper's the best.
Especially Casper.
Yeah. Well, you know, you never know when something's going to get heat. And here, this little movie that you've done, Patty Cakes.
Who knew?
Yeah.
Who knew? But I knew this one was special when I read it. And I knew the director was all that.
Yeah.
I said, that's my new Scorsese, you know?
Right.
I saw how visual he was and his writing, this character development, just absolutely pristine. But the way he can direct and his calmness and how he keeps control of everything. And his writing is so good. And then he'll cast it where now you bring it to life.
Mm.
And he'll guide you along. But he always wanted me to play Nana. And when I read it, I really loved it. But I loved the connection. Like, to me, there's so many different things you get out of scripts all the time, right? I love the three generations.
Yeah, me too.
And the connection. And I love the relationship, even though I don't have one scene with Bridget Everett, who plays Barb, who plays my daughter. But that builds my relationship with my superstar, who's Danielle McDonough, who plays Patty. But also, I think the fact that all the main characters in this have all suffered some sort of loss.
Right.
So they all have something in common. So they all have the underlying pain, and they all are trying to do the same thing and just get out of Dodge, you know?
Right. And despite wherever they are with each other, it's still a family, you know what I mean? And families are really driven by women, I believe.
Listen, you know, when it comes down, well, families are all driven by women. I mean, God knows what would they do without us. But, I think you're right. But also, you know, when it comes down to families, you know, we all get mad and everything. But we all got each other's back when it comes down to it. I mean, I'm one of 7, and believe me, anything. My brother will be here in like 8 seconds.
Right,
you know?
right.
It's just, you have each other's back, and you really do love each other. And that's an unconditional love when it comes to family.
And like it walks that line of love and also jealousy, because everybody lives with that regret. And then the thing of seeing a generation that's still, you know, coming after you that might have hope, but you still have the stuff in your heart like, man, I wanted to do this thing. I wanted to get this thing done. And I was supposed to be this kind of person. I was supposed to be great. And I let myself down. It's so hard to then be gentle with somebody who has the opportunity to do that.
And want them to succeed.
Yeah.
But you didn't get it yourself.
It's so complex about family, the way that works. It's crazy. Yeah.
And some, you know, you could go to a Little League game and seeing the parents overstepping the bounds of where they need. This isn't about you.
Kath, I'm Kathy's coach, and we have
a baseball team.
We have a baseball team. We've been playing for how many years now? Quite a few years, and so every now and then I gotta say, you better step back now.
Yeah.
Take a step back.
Right,
Kath?
Yeah.
We have the best team. It rocks.
We have the best team.
What position do you play in baseball?
All of them.
All of them.
On our team, it's a challenger league, and everybody plays every position.
That's interesting. That's fun.
We have the greatest team.
Yeah.
Right? Grand slams?
Yes.
All the time. Everybody bats a different position. Everybody gets to have the grand slam. Now, I play fair. That's why if you cross that line, you could take a step back.
Kathy Moriarty is in studio with us. Patty Cakes comes out in select theaters this Friday, August 18th. For more information, go to foxsearchlight.com.
You know, the other thing about family that happens here is like your character has an easier time with your granddaughter than you probably have with your daughter.
That's a very good point, and I brought it up so many times that they always say it's much easier to be a grandparent. Than a parent. And I mean, I had my children later in life. So they'll come up to my kids, oh, is that your grandmother? And they get like highly offended. They're like, no, I have a grandmother. That's my mother. But it is now, like experiencing it through a movie, it is much easier to give that love to a grandchild because you're trying to teach your own child.
Yes, and you're
now
more
it's
concerned.
not your job to teach your grandchild. It's your job just to give them love, and then you get to give them back.
Right. I actually said to Gail and her brother, like, this man who calls himself my father, I never met him the way he is with you. He was so fun and gentle, and he's like, I'm going to take them to the amusement park. I go, now you go to amusement parks. You know what I mean? Like,
you never threw a ball at me.
It's funny because I even remember that conversation happening when I was young where, you know, my grandfather always had great stories and was...
Fast laugh with you guys.
Yes, very, just so fun and sweet and wise and kind and gentle. And then you would be like, I dealt with like a military man in my house. And I was like, what?
He was always embarrassed.
It was different for me because I was trying to reflect on something of how my grandparents were, but I didn't have grandparents growing up.
Yeah.
So I based that on kind of, because my mother, we call her Nan, in how she is with her grandchildren, how different it was as her being a mother. I mean,
I had grandmothers and I had great-grandmothers. I was surrounded by women.
That's fabulous.
It's really something that I only started to think about in the last couple of years. Like, I never had a babysitter. It was always a sister, you know, a grandmother or something. There was never a stranger that was a babysitter.
Right.
That's why we had so many kids. You had the built-in babies.
We had it built in that way. It was always family. Well, congratulations for Patty Cakes.
Thank you. It's a very heartfelt, great movie with an amazing music, and I think the album drops on Friday.
And also, I'm so happy for you that you've had this career now, too, that you can look at and say, wow, this has been pretty amazing. You know, this has been pretty great.
I didn't do too bad, did I?
Yeah, you did very, very well, my friend. Thank you so much. So great to meet you. Nice to meet you, Kathy, as well.
So nice.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Fun.
Patty Cakes comes out in select theaters this Friday, August 18th. For more information, foxsearchlight.com. Thank you so much, Kathy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you.
Right back, Bennington. Show, Ron Bennington, Gail Bennington. So our buddy was sick, couldn't show up today, right?
Yes, he was, yeah.
Do you know this would have been a great day for him with Kathy Moriarty because Italians love those movies.
They do.
I don't know an Italian who doesn't love the late 70s Scorsese movies.
No, it's like secular saint type people to them, I feel like.
I don't know if I'd say secular.
Just regular.
Catholic saints. Scorsese went on such a roll there when he was a kid. And I don't think these were overly popular movies. Like, people will talk about Taxi Driver and Main Streets and all that, and I don't think that they were big box office hits. But the people who saw them, you know, they were changed. They loved those movies.
Yeah, and they're like the movies that have lasting impressions. Like, that's like, you know, film school 101 is like breaking down those movies and finding out what was great and what worked about them.
I think he was even all coked up during those movies. Like, the stories about New York, where it's like he's directing and he wasn't showing up till noon. And then in the middle of all these really great New York dramas, he just makes the best rock documentary of all time with The Last Waltz.
Yeah.
How the fuck And then him and Robbie become friends, and they just fucking sit in pool houses, and they're fucking snorting coke, and they're fucking editing the movie while he's putting together. Like, if you read the stuff that Robbie Robertson talks about becoming friends with, you just talk movies all the time. I remember one time when you were a little girl, I took you to see Scorsese talk, and he would talk, like, this was like, it was like a night with Martin Scorsese that he had done. And then he would just talk, and go, I just want to show you this scene. And some scene from the 1950s or 1940s. He would show a little film clip. And he would come back and talk about it. And I remember thinking, I have no idea where he's going or why he thinks this movie is good.
Right.
And
some visual cue into what it means to him and why this was like the most important thing. And then we'd all be leaning in like, yeah, I get that too.
And he'd be like, you notice? Mm-hmm. Do you notice how it went with that? The pen. The pen was in the scene. And you're like, but Tarantino does that. Tarantino will do it with 70s kung fu movies where you're like, I don't like this as much as you do. Or he's just talking about Burt Reynolds as if Burt Reynolds was Olivier. You know what I mean? And this is where, and you're just like, man, you get this on such a level. I don't. But I have this happen all the time. Like, a lot of times when film producers are like, do you hear it? Da-da-da-da, da-da-da. And you're like, no, I'm hearing everything else but the da-da-da. I don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
You're making me feel dumb.
Well, you know, that's kind of interesting because people who are an artist in a specific medium who are fans of other people within that, the same thing. Like, I think that it comes out, I think you've got to put music first, right? Yeah. So there are so many musicians who are not only musicians and not only care about their career, but they fucking love music. Right. And all kinds of music, and they'll talk about it, whatever. And then I would say, like, film below that, like, there are, you know, filmmakers who are film buffs and just love movies. And some of them are just like, look, this is the way I make art. It's not because I'm obsessed with movies. It's just like, this is the way I chose. But, like, I wonder, are painters like that? Like, are there, like, people who are into, like, visual mediums? Are they, like, just fan of art?
Well, see, they all went to art school.
Right.
And that isn't so much to teach you how to paint. That's to teach you what's great about painting.
Right.
You
and
know
who's already walked what path.
Yeah, who's already walked it. So there's no reason for you to paint like Da Vinci.
Right.
We have a Da Vinci. What could you do with that? What could you do with Warhol? Everybody's in this post period. And that is fascinating, but it doesn't mean because you don't paint like them that you would not like them.
Right. I just wonder, like, if you took the, you know, top 10 most successful musicians, top 10 most successful filmmakers, top 10 most successful painters right now. Like, are that painters just like, yes, I'm a painter, but I fucking love art. Like, I go to museums constantly.
Well, this is, if you go up, this is one of my favorite short documentaries that have been done for a while, and it's up on the iBang, and Jim Carrey painting and talking about painting and how much he loves it. Do you know how many fucking performers also paint? Like, they just paint every day. And it's because it's a wonderful thing for you to do.
Yeah.
It's also a great way for you to do other. But, you know, Sylvester Stallone paints every day. John Mellencamp paints every day. John Mellencamp's paintings, I couldn't take my eyes off them. I'd love to go up close and see these. But so many, like, we think of somebody as being a filmmaker, but it doesn't mean that they don't play the piano and enjoy music. And, you know, there's certain people, like Kanye is like, I want to put all my stuff out there publicly.
Right.
Some people just like, this part is from me. I write, I play with a band in my garage, I paint. Oh, and then you also know me as a filmmaker.
Well, painting is kind of interesting because it's like kind of our first experience with creativity is like painting and like before you learn language and you're able to write your feelings, you're like finger painting and drawing with crayons. Like that's your first thing of self-expression where you're like, this is kind of what's in my mind right now. You're just like a 3-year-old. It's pretty weird how that's that first one where you go, okay, you can make a world of your own with this.
But it's also very physical, which is great. So you're physically involved with what you're doing, and you're getting dirty. You know, you're getting paint on you. You're getting paint on your clothes. You're not being precious about yourself. There's a lot of people who write poetry just for themselves because people don't necessarily like to read it, but it's good for you to write poetry. It's good for you to write a song. It's good for you. Here's an interesting thing, or maybe it's not. But if you go back and read about pre-television, right? The theater was incredibly important to people, both in New York and anywhere in the country. People would go to the theater for their entertainment and for their education. A lot of the people at the Algonquin table that were considered the wittiest people, many of them theater critics. A lot of them were writers and theater critics. The theater critic and the playwright were almost in the same position. Right. They were both considered very important to the art form. Maybe we went through a golden age of theater because we went through a golden age of theater criticism. Right. That it wasn't just thumbs up or thumbs down.
Right.
I give it a 67%. It was about, has this artist worked to their full potential?
Right. And you have that person who's like an ultimate tastemaker. Like they're teaching you how to enjoy a piece of art. They're like, look, this is how I think of it. And it illuminates you rather than just like tells you, is this a rotten tomato or like
and also you're talking directly to the playwright, the actor, saying, are you working on the level that you should be working right now? It's great that you know how to do slapstick comedy. Right. Is this enough? Right. So you're almost like a professor in college. You're trying to push that person to be better. And we've incredibly lost that thing about American art. We've incredibly lost the fact that we collectively want the art to be better. And that's because maybe we don't. We just want to sit there and see explosions.
Right.
But can you make better explosions than other people? You know, are you really remaking Die Hard, or is it time for you to do something else? Or are you remaking Die Hard in a way that's fantastic? You know?
Are you taking it to what is your addition other than the fact that you're like, people seem to like this?
Right. So you're not ripping it off. You're using it in the way that, let's say, the best hip hop people use music. You know? Right. The worst hip hop people just rip it off. The best take it and make it into something else. And that we didn't see coming when we first started to hear rap. We're like, are they just stealing?
Right. Instead of thinking of it like the way somebody makes a collage or the way that somebody like mixes mediums in a visual art.
Exactly.
They're saying.
Now, by the way, collage was argued about for fucking generations.
Yeah.
Is that art? You've taken a picture out of a magazine and you've painted your things over. And we've finally gotten a way that most of us believe, yes, it is art to do that. That here Andy Warhol sampled something from Madison Avenue and then you sampled Andy Warhol's sample in your piece. You know, isn't that interesting? But those things should be, I honestly think it would be fascinating if we had something that was like Fox or CNN that just fought about art all day long. I think the world would be better if people found that to be entertaining.
That's what you get, like the round table, 12 talking heads yelling over each other.
But it's very rare to find that anywhere, even in film.
Yeah.
These days. And I will watch bad shows like that.
Yeah, I mean, we were saying how much we're going to miss the show that's on New York One, which is local, and they're just talking about movies and they're just arguing with each other, and it's totally fascinating. And, you know, whether they're talking about good movies or bad movies, I always want to watch it.
We're almost past the point where we can do that it's worth even talking about these movies, other than they're out and they made this amount of money. There's very little. There's even when a movie makes $800 million worldwide. I don't think it's discussed that much.
Well, even like if you think about like the TV, series, episodic entertainment right now is reaching a boom. Like, are we having something that is smart discussion or smart critics who talk about that stuff that was on the level of great film critics? Like, have we even caught up maybe with people other than just like fanboy sites or, people being like, this last episode was badass because of this?
When there's something really good, I'll go to, I don't know, AV Club or something.
Right.
And I'll go back and go, did I miss anything? I don't normally do that before I see stuff. But I have, watched Better Call Saul and then just put in episode review.
Right.
And go in and read. And
someone picking it apart.
If you get somebody who's good like that, you're like, oh, that's right, that guy was from the first season. Because I'm just watching it as a show. Right. You know what I mean? So, and that way, it's always fun to just share into that. But it's more and more rare today. By the way, we were talking about this before, where you were saying, would you rather watch something that comes out once a week or binge it?
Yeah.
And I said to you, well, I'd certainly rather watch it once a week. I have a couple shows now that I wish I was binging because I can't wait. And that has changed in me in the last few months. And I just really wanted to binge Hard Knocks, Tampa.
Right.
And those things haven't even happened yet. You know what I mean? Like, they're doing it now. And I'm like, where's the other fucking episode?
You're going to want to binge watch the NFL season in its entirety.
That's what Red Zone is.
Hard Knocks has never had anyone. I don't think it's ever done well, right?
No.
And every year I'm like, here's who I think is going to win the Super Bowl. But this is my underdog team. And it's always the Hard Knocks team. Because I start to root for those guys.
Right. You start to believe
I see how hard they work. I'm like, that coach doesn't leave. This guy, he made the team after being this journeyman. And I want him to do well.
One team actually did well. The Jets, when their Hard Knock season, they went on to the AFC Championship to lose, but they were probably the team to make it farthest out of that series.
Who was last year's Hard Knocks?
Rams, right?
The Rams were last year's, and they were kind of fun because they had a brand new quarterback in a brand new town.
Right.
They didn't even have their fucking a decent place to practice. They were at some college.
Yeah.
So, they're like staying in dorms and shit. It was very old school. It was very Paper Lion whenever you go back and watch. That was the first Hard Knocks, was Paper Lion in the 1960s. But, you do just have to be around somebody for a while before you want to start and root for them. Like, I will always be a Kathy Moriarty person from this point on.
Oh, I know.
I want her to do well, and I'll be thinking of little Kathy.
Yeah, I want her to do well in her next season for baseball.
Now, here's what happens, Chris. And this is something we got to figure out.
Okay.
Because you moved there.
Yes.
Jen's moved over there.
Yes.
And it seems like everything's running well. But then I have to have a dope like Vito talking crazy to Kathy Moriarty, not even giving her the background. And I'm thinking, I said, Vito, you've been around here too long not to know that. And then Kathy is saying to me, can I bring little Kathy in? Oh, this is your daughter. Can I bring little Kathy in, my daughter? And, Spencer's going, you sit here. And it turned into, and I'm like, because after all these years, Vito doesn't, and Vito could have said, Jen, Kathy Moriarty's here. I'm going to switch out with you. You know how to do this. You make everybody feel comfortable when they walk.
She's lovely.
And Vito, there's things that you do well. I don't know what you're doing. You get the audible things, the audible. Everyone's so happy right now that you get the audible up every single day. They're very happy. When I read Twitter, I know that they're big fans of yours. So, but just make the adjustment if you don't know how to be about human beings. You were supposed to be my social guy.
Yeah, I looked like a fool. I looked like a fool just now.
No. You only look like a fool because I pointed it out. I had to point it out to Kathy. I go, no. It doesn't run this way. This Italian doesn't have any regard for how big you're held in the Italian. Dude, when she said that she can't go back and watch that movie. And at first I thought it's because she thought it sucked. 2, it's because she loves Belushi. And maybe even something happened for her, now.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, you were thinking?
Mm-hmm. I had a little thought, perhaps.
Because I'll tell you something off the air.
Okay.
I know. It'd be a dish, but a dish that's served very cold.
As cold as they come.
Yeah, so it wouldn't even be fun for you guys. It would just be mean on my part. But you know what she means to Italians, right? I know you don't watch good movies, but you're familiar with Raging Bull.
I'm very familiar with Raging Bull. Raging Bull's beloved in my home.
Then why wouldn't your mom be here today? And B, you're going to go home tonight. Your mom goes, I treated Kathy Moriarty like she was just a washwoman off the street.
Don't even get me started about little Kathy.
Love little Kathy. Love little Kathy. I play all the positions.
So cute.
I'm not going to stick with one. I get grand slams. And I almost went like this. Well, you ain't going to hit one off me, honey. You're going to hit air. Okay? Because you're going to see the ball and then hear the ball in the mitt. You're going to see it coming out of my hand, and then you're going to hear a pop. You're going to turn around, and that ball's in the mitt. So, she was born in Brooklyn, but raised. She reminds me so much of my friend Kathleen from the Bronx. And I mean, she makes the same facial thing.
Yeah, she did remind me of her.
So is there a facial technique that's from a neighborhood?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like you would say something and she would look at you and nod and reach out with her hand. And I'm like, she looks just like Kathleen right now.
Yeah, you're right. She did. She had not only that, like she was making expressions like her, but just her general energy reminded me of her.
Hey, Chris in Mass. Chris, what's up?
Oh, well, listening to your discussion about what's art and what's not, and I'm house sitting up in near Stockbridge, Massachusetts, which is where the Norman Rockwell Museum is.
I've been there many times.
Yeah, and they're doing a show right now, which is Andy Warhol and Norman Rockwell.
I should be there. Do you know when I was a little kid, those two people who you don't think would go together, they were my two favorite artists as like a 6-year-old.
That's really interesting. Right, that's really interesting.
I loved Norman Rockwell when I was a little kid.
Oh, yeah.
When I think I was a little kid, and I even had a couple prints, like, on my wall. Because my family knew that I liked them. And I don't know what it was.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it was just that Americana thing. It was maybe it was that kids were so, strongly featured in his work.
I don't know. But you should. I know that you like to go up to the George thing.
Lake George.
Go to Western Massachusetts. There's a couple great museums. There's Tanglewood, which is outdoor music. The Boston Pops goes there. And Alice's Restaurant, that old church is done where really cool music is played,
neat.
Singer-songwriter and folk stuff. It's a great getaway from the city. Great weekend getaway. I haven't been there in a long time, and I love that place. So it'd be perfect. But the Norman Rockwell Museum is there because and they have his house, right? They put his house there and his art studio, and you go there, and the paints and everything is still sitting from when he died. You're in that studio. And it's very rustic,
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting, too, because both of those artists, there was a lot of controversy about people deciding, are they even artists?
Well, they both have the illustrating background.
Yeah.
And there was a time where you're not a painter, you're an illustrator. Go work in the magazine business.
Right.
Because being in the magazine business, if you were an illustrator, if you turn around and look at Mateo now, he'd be working in the magazine business in those days.
Oh, yeah.
Before photographs were, easily printable. They would just have an illustrator go and draw it because it would pop better than if they put a picture in a magazine. The magazine business used to be gigantic in this country.
Yeah, it was I guess it's really up to the person who's because to me, I would think anybody who is an illustrator is an artist, period. I would just think if you are able to do that, if you have that skill and you make visual pieces like that, how could you not be considered artist? But I think really what it comes down to is whether that person says that they were an artist or not. If they're look, I'm not an artist, I just draw this stuff because this is my job. I guess that would be up to that person's intention. But if he's saying I'm an artist,
maybe. I mean, that is a debate that you could have. Another thing is we'll tell you whether you're an artist or not. You're not acting like an artist. Look, you could go into Central Park. Somebody who could draw Chris will look exactly like him. No one considers that art.
Right.
You know what I mean? There was a time, that's all art was. Can you draw something that looks exactly like what you're looking at? If so, you're the best artist on the planet. And then once the photograph was invented, people were like, well, this is better than what you can draw. So what can you draw? That's interesting.
Right.
We don't need you to draw reality. We have it.
You know, I had a friend whose mother did like woodwork and stuff like that. And I remember one time I was looking at all her pieces. She had like a garage full of pieces that she was selling. She did woodwork and wicker and made chairs and stuff. It's like, wow, you're really a phenomenal artist. And she was like, artist? I mean, I guess I never really thought of that. Cause she was like, I'm a crafts person. Like I make a craft, which is like another thing, just like Illustrator. It's like I learned a skill and then I implement that skill. And she took her aback for a second to be like, yeah, I guess I kind of am an artist. Like she had never even thought of herself that way.
Well, there's something out right now, a documentary. It was just on HBO. I think it's might be called Brillo Box 33% off. Something like that. So Andy Warhol made these, there were Brillo boxes that people would send out to supermarkets. And then he made those Brillo boxes. So they're giving away free Brillo boxes filled with Brillo pads. And then he makes it and he would sell it for $1,000, right? It looked exactly like it. So the art community and society in general said, this is not art. You just made a fucking Brillo box that looks exactly like a Brillo box, right? So this film gets made by this young girl who grew up in Brooklyn Heights, right where it overlooks Manhattan. It's still one of the great fucking neighborhoods of all. Like they knew it in the 40s and they knew it in the 80s and they know it today. It's just a great neighborhood. And her parents, she has the home movies. They were young. He was a lawyer. She was, I forget, her mother and father. And they bought one of these Brillo boxes for $1,000 in 1964, 65. This Brillo box today is worth $3.3 million.
Oh.
They sold that Brillo box in 1968. So she went and followed where the Brillo box and all. She's got pictures of her as a baby on top of the Brillo box. It just sat in the living room. We own an Andy Warhol Brillo
That's
box.
crazy.
That's her picture right there.
Holy shit.
So, and see what the name, because I want people to see this, because it goes to show, like, art collecting and being a fanatic of art and what that does to the art, right?
Right.
The fact that the right people not only reviewed this Brillo box well, but it was also sold and resold to people who were considered great collectors. And that made more value. The fact that this Brillo box has a history makes it also something of more value.
Right.
And you can get frustrated by that, but, you know, the same exact thing is true of anything on Wall Street. You know what I mean? Like, hey, cool guys are wearing this watch. This watch is worth more money. Hey, cool guys are fucking no longer wearing that watch. That watch sucks.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
I mean, the whole dance between art and the way we consume things, like, all of it is like the emperor has no clothes.
Yeah.
Like, it's just because we said, like, oh, this looks great, and everyone goes, yeah, I guess that is pretty great. Like, you think about things that come into fashion trends when they come into trends, it's just made up. We've all just said, like, oh, yeah, that's what we've decided is beautiful right now. If you just watch the way the trend of eyebrows change from the 1920s to 30s, 40s up until today, they're just eyebrows. Like people are just born with the ones that they have, but yet we pluck them, we fill them in, we make them, and we're like, no, it's not any different. We're not any different looking now. We've just decided this is beautiful. It's weird how art is the same way. Just like we make that decision.
And it is, both of those things are temporary, and it's hard to explain to people in the future why you had the hair that you had, right? Or why you wore the jacket. And when people go, why that? Like, they'll see pictures of people, normally middle-aged guys in the 1970s, and their stupid ties and their check things. But at the time, nobody was saying to them, you look like a complete moron.
I mean, what is this?
You know?
5 years ago, you dressed entirely different. Yeah, but this is my look now. Yeah. This is what I've been doing with myself.
I saw another guy wearing it. I started wearing this, went out. And by the way, here's what you forget, too. You go out to buy a jacket, and it's fucking 99% fucking plaid jackets. You're probably going to buy one. You're like, okay, this is it. You know, some guy's telling you, everyone's wearing plaid.
Right.
And it's much harder on women. You know what I mean?
Right.
But you, like, even if I tried to show you the picture of Kathy Moriarty from 1980, right? And this, you would not see it the same way that I saw it in 1980. You know what I mean? In 1980, you had never seen, and it was also, she was a reflection of a beautiful woman from a bygone era. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you're like, oh, we plucked her from 1940 and dropped her, and then it's hard to explain those things.
Yeah, I think that even now about the women who are our biggest sex symbols right now are playing off of something that I think was beautiful, certain aspects that were beautiful in the early to mid 90s. Yeah. Like, it's like there is like something nostalgic, like something that was beautiful to us when we were young becomes beautiful again.
Now,
it's weird how that stuff
Now, here's happens. Something else that's really fucking crazy. Now, it's one thing that you could have bought a Basquiat for next to nothing that's worth, millions of dollars. And by the way, you got to do some work to make that worth that kind of money. You got to do your own marketing for that piece to get paid that money. But I remember when I first started making money in the 80s, and I swear to God, this is true, at least from my perspective. I'm reading a magazine, right? And they said that Andy Warhol, no one gives a shit about Andy Warhol at all anymore. And that you could have him paint your portrait for like 25 G's. And I said to your mom, I'm like, maybe I should get a fucking Warhol,
Right.
And I didn't discuss it, but I had the money that I could have just went and been in an Andy Warhol thing. Now, again, were the people of the 80s stupid because Andy Warhol is now, his things will go for $100 million. $100 million.
Yeah.
In the 80s, you could have fucking went in there with $1 million and left with a stack of them. Things that are worth, But he died. There'll be no more Warhols. So he's worth more money. And Basquiat is worth more money. And Julian Schnabel's not talked about anymore. He had a much bigger career in the 80s than both of those guys.
And was like peers to almost mentors, like depending with a lot of the people that are thought to be the greats of that era.
But if an anvil drops on fucking Julian Schnabel's head tomorrow, maybe those same things are worth $100 million, which is now my new idea for a movie. You buy a bunch of art by somebody and you cut their fucking head off.
Holy
Not only do you make sure that they die, but you make sure that they die in a way that's so fucking horrific and famous,
Like you could even do something like if their work of art was somehow poignant, like let's say that there was something about suicide or something that was like in their work and you link it and you're like, oh my God, we should have known through this piece because look at the way. And then this guy is almost like a serial art killer.
Yeah. Here's the deal. So the artist in the movie, and this, by the way, is copyrighted right now in my brain. He does parts of the body. He'll do a series on feet. He does a series on legs. He does, right? Mm-hmm. And you kidnap him and you fucking put out his hand, right? By the way, you're keeping him alive and you're putting out tapes of him screaming, they cut my fucking hand up. You know what I mean? and then his feet, blah, blah, blah. So you're fucking dismembering him in the way that his art has gone up, knowing that when you get to the end of it, all these things are going to be a lot of money. Now, Bruce Willis figures this out finally.
Willis?
Why do Bruce Willis, I don't know, who's big now?
Liam Neeson.
Drive.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
Let's go with Drive.
All right.
I want to do somebody younger.
Yeah.
You know, by the way, Bruce Willis in this fucking alt-right movie. This alt-right movie that they're complaining about, I saw in the 70s. So, there's our movie. There's our fucking movie. What's Drive's name?
Gosling?
Yeah, Gosling.
The Goz.
Yeah. Call him, get him now.
All right, call him.
Tell him I'm going to fucking give him $100,000 just to take my phone call tomorrow.
Holy shit.
That'll get him to do it. I'll give him a check for $100,000 to be next to his phone at 1 o'clock tomorrow.
Got it.
Tell him that I want him to put Pampers on because he's going to shit himself. Tell him to go out, say, you're getting a check tonight for $100,000. Use some of that money to put on adult Pampers. So he's going to shit himself. Now, he won't do it, but he'll never forget that line.
Right.
So, like, here's two things. Like, here's the most biggest star in the world. And for 100 G's, I'm going to get his full fucking attention with this. Okay? That's because I'm marketing this as I'm selling it. Oh, by the way, I think I want Julian Schnabel to play the part of the artist.
Oh, that's a great thing.
Because he's going to understand. And then, why we're doing this, buy a bunch of Schnabel stuff, because that's going to be worth even more.
Right.
Are we offering Schnabel money?
I fucking love Art Killer.
Yeah. Art Killer, but I worry about people just putting Fart Killer as their reviews.
You always got to be careful when you title a movie. Just like when you name a child, you got to like think about, oh, what's all the horrible nicknames? Same for a movie. You don't want the critics calling it Fart Killer.
It's very, very true.
Or Fart Filler or something.
I was
weird
thinking
like
about
that.
starting a website just called Mean Reviews. Remember how we used to do that on the show? What's the big movie out right now, Chris? What are the kids talking about?
There's kids like Dunkirk, and there's a horror movie called Annabelle that made a lot of money.
Annabelle?
Annabelle, yeah.
What's that about?
It's like a doll. It's a creepy doll that like kills people in the house.
All right, these are
Chucky.
These are those. Yeah.
You're talking about Chucky.
Yeah. This is less Chucky and more sucky. Annabelle. So, yeah, we'll just do mean movie reviews on it.
Yeah, or like Dunkirk.
Dunkirk, yeah. That's good. Or Dunkirk.
Dark Tower is also out.
Fart Tower. Most of these are going to be fart. I'm going to be honest. Or fart louder.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you can make it both words.
A fart shower.
All of these are good.
Yeah. But I always like it too. It'd be like Dunkirk. This is the first movie I ended up rooting for the Nazis to win. You know what I mean? I like that kind of discuss.
Sly, kind of, almost like a gay wit where it's just cutting.
Yeah. France let us down. Dunkirk. You know. Should have let them all drown. Dunkirk. You know, it's like, this is a real thing.
Fun with it.
Yeah. Have some fun with it. Leave a foot behind, an arm, whatever.
God, it's gonna
Art Killer.
It's really good.
I mean, working title.
Yeah.
Working title.
WT.
Like, Chris, whatever you got, I feel like I'm catching over here. I'm getting a headache.
Oh, no.
I can get some Advil.
Don't you touch the
That does me no good.
None? Zero?
Zero. I'm going to need fucking morphine.
I can't.
Right now. Give me that kind of morphine that they carry in the field, so if you're shot, you're just quickly on morphine.
Can't do that.
Every producer should have that.
I'm, now remember the time I told you I couldn't take, I refused to take the morphine in the thing because I'd be worried?
Yeah.
Because I'm an addict. So I'm watching this, the TV show, The Patriot, on Amazon, and I'm going to give it 7 stars. Oh. Yeah. And I only use a 5-star system.
So you love it then.
Yeah, crazy about it. But this guy middle-aged guy, started this company. It was big, became a drug addict, lost everything, lost his family. And this kind of accident happens to him. And he's up and he's on a morphine drip, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's fucking furious because he knows he's on morphine. And he's saying to the nurse, do you look in anybody's drug history before you put them on morphine? And she goes, well, what we looked on is that you were in a bad accident. And he goes, well, without looking at the drug history, the fact that I could be an addict. And she's like, no, I'm sorry, we didn't. Should I take the morphine out? And he's like, no. Leave it in. It feels fantastic. And that's how quickly. I'm glad that you're laughing at addicts, because to me, it's the same way as laughing at a cancer patient. I'll say this. Being addicted to drugs is the hardest disease.
You
ever.
think so?
Well, let's face it. Cancer patients don't fight to keep more cancer. Okay? That's what I think. Cancer patients are saying, I'm trying to get more cancer. I'm not telling anybody.
And there's not services like bars just full of cancer that you have to walk by.
Thank you very much. Diabetes people know what I'm talking about. Diabetes people are like, I have diabetes. I'm just going to give myself an M&M. Yeah.
They always say like that's like kind of the hardest addiction because
really? Let's get on heroin then.
They do say that because if you have a food addiction, you need food to live. But you don't need heroin to live. You don't need alcohol.
Food.
Yeah, but that's what they're saying. They're just like, yeah, but I still have to eat. So they're just like eating broccoli, but they're like, yeah, but this could be covered in cheese and butter.
Remember when the line Jimmy Buffett guy told us that, Vito, this was going to be a thing that Vito was going to be our leader into. It wasn't even going to be like, Vito, do these things. Vito was going to be the head of Health Club.
HOC.
What happened, Vito?
No, you happened, Chris. You fucking happened. Your fucking health is so bad, you couldn't have an egg today without shitting for 7 hours.
It really hurts. But after Labor Day, I want to get it together.
No one's waiting for you.
No, we want it to be healthy now.
Or else, you know what? After Labor Day, why don't you do the Jimmy Buffett challenge that you lied about?
I will do it after Labor Day.
I know how much money you got coming in, dude. What? You don't need to do anything.
He tried to lie and say he wasn't able to do it because all the tiki torches were sold out. That's what he told me. I don't even believe that's true.
I know the blowback is there. By the way, I see Trump today came out against the neo-Nazis after 2 days. I don't know if that even helps. Like that.
It's almost worse, you think?
Yeah.
You're like, by the way, I did mean that everything was bad. You guys got that, right?
Some people think that this could be worse for our guy, Steve Bannon, Sirius XM's own Steve Bannon, because he's the, alt-right guy.
Yeah.
And here the alt-right. And let's face it, what really fucked up was the guy who drove into people. Yeah. I mean, you have every right to go out and do your speeches.
Of course, yeah.
But, that guy, driving like like he's in the movie Christine. But here's some inside information. I shouldn't even talk about it, but I'm going to. Vito, you were the phone screener for the alt-right show, as it was called at the time?
Yes.
How long were you Steve Bannon's phone screener?
For about 3 or 4 months.
3 or 4 months. You every day were looking at Steve Bannon's face. Some people now call that the face of evil. And Steve Bannon is trying to get some people out of the White House, according, I guess, McMaster and the other guy are trying to get Bannon out of the White House. But I've got some inside information. Do me a favor. If you're going to use this information, link me. Okay, I deserve that by being the guy who broke it. If Steve Bannon of SiriusXM is replaced on the White House, Trump is telling people he's thinking about bringing in Sway or Sam Roberts, but he wants to keep that Sirius XM connection.
Wow. That's really shocking.
I got news for you right now. Sam is too young for this position. Sway, on the other hand, he would be the first black person connected with this, but I still think there's a coolness there.
Yeah, but I think that could be really good for Trump. You know what I mean? It speaks volumes for him.
Until that quote came out that me and Chris heard, where we heard Sway say something like some shitty rock and roll. What was he saying?
That was some rock and roll bullshit.
Yeah, because they're playing some kind of rock and roll bullshit. He was telling somebody there's some fucking horrible thing he had to sit through. Yeah, it's called the Beatles, Sway.
Some sort of rock and roll bullshit.
So that's what I'm hearing from people.
Wow, that
might be Sway, might be Sam Roberts.
It's very exciting. Sucks for Bannon, though.
I don't know. I mean, how long can you stay in that White House? It's not like he's accomplishing anything.
I think he'll land on his feet. He has a writing career.
Yeah. If he doesn't land on his feet, he'll definitely land on his elbows. Now, I came up with the idea of Disco Dan, the office gossip guy. And I understand I can't even use that phrase.
No.
He's not even allowed to come around us, or he is just as his real name, Dan Tana.
I'm going to be honest, I miss him.
Oh, I love Dan.
I miss the guy.
Yeah, Dan is one of my favorite people. Didn't he take a vacation, as it's called?
He took a vacation.
Is he still out?
I haven't seen him today. He might still be out. Maybe he's coming back tomorrow. But yeah, he was on vacation last week. And yeah, he can no longer be the office gossip.
Disco Dan, the office gossip.
No more.
It's a great gimmick. It was a great gimmick for him.
Yeah. What about Chris Stanley, the office gossip?
Let's keep this thing rolling.
Yeah,
I think maybe the problem was Dan. Maybe you're the right man for the job.
There's that picture that I like best, the one with that guy screaming out. Yeah. I'd love to know who that dude is. All right, guys. Well, tomorrow on the show, is there anything we want to plug, Chris? Or you want to plug your waiting list? I've never heard of anyone plug a waiting list in my life.
There's you can go to theinterrobang.com to get on the wait list to Street Jokes, which is happening Tuesday, August 22nd at 8 p.m. at the Stand Comedy Club here in New York City. That is the wait list at ibang.com for Street Jokes.
And Big Brothers is up on iTunes. Would you already say that it's dated in material? Because I know...
No, but... I mean, it's a really good episode. Go subscribe, follow us on Twitter at Big Brothers Pod.
That's just stupid. Just don't add the other stuff.
Like Big Brothers
You already
Pod.
say that during your show, right? You say that during your show. So just push the thing that needs to be plugged, not the secondary plug.
What about your Instagram and Snapchat?
Just Twitter.
There's no reason for you guys to have a Twitter.
We have a Pinterest. It's a Big Brothers, Big Brother pins, and it's mostly pictures of Jess.
That's a smart idea. I miss Jess for that very reason.
The visual?
Yeah. Chris and I went out for, we went out for some sushi to celebrate the great work that Chris has done on this next audio documentary. When's that coming out?
That's 2 p.m. this Friday. Greg Giraldo, A Life in Comedy.
Nice.
And Chris got amazing stuff. He just did great work. So I gotta tell you what, I'm going to take you out for a fancy little lunch it was actually dinner by that time. And then our waitress had a tiny little face. I'm like, doesn't she remind you of Jess? Just a tiny little face.
Very much so.
Yeah. And there's an Elizabeth Hurley picture up on the iBang that Chris, his initial thing is Elizabeth Hurley still fuckable, and it was changed to Elizabeth Hurley is not aging. But click that if you can real quick.
I had issues with that edit.
She's 57 years old, dude.
The fuck?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Is that how old she is? 57?
Yeah,
Or did I just make that up out of nowhere?
She's in her 50s.
Look at, like, the ass, the waist, the,
bent
like...
over.
Yeah, she's unbelievable.
Everything
She came in and
beautiful.
did the show one time, and hypnotizing how beautiful she is.
Wow.
And I go like this. I go, we look like the most beautiful couple I've ever seen. And I'm only adding 0.000% of this. It's really mostly you. But even with her, I'm suddenly in an attractive couple.
They are beautiful.
Yeah. If I dated her, I would wear a shirt that just said, I know what's she doing with me. I get it. I've heard it enough. Dude, we should fucking sell those shirts.
All right.
Every guy would wear that.
Of course you would.
Like your wife.
Because you're like complimenting your wife,
Yes.
and then she'll like it.
Dude, let's fucking make that shirt and see if we can't get it to go viral. But wouldn't this be funny if a wife got in her shirt? When are we doing Dish this week? What's the story on that?
Wednesday.
Yes. 1 p.m. hour.
I don't know if I'll be here for that.
We have
Wanna
you
go-
booked.
Yeah, I want to go crabbing. The only time I can get in with Johnny is midweek. He will not take me on the weekends. All right, guys, that's it. Have a lovely summer day. We'll see you again in 1974.
Ladies and gentlemen, the evening is over. We hope you all enjoyed yourselves, and we'll see you all again in 1974. Good evening!